I was dead. Like, actually dead. White cloth over my face, women crying, the whole funeral package. Pretty standard Tuesday, right? Wrong. Because 5 minutes ago, I was a security manager at a big company, living my best life with my girlfriend Xiaolan, eating good food, sleeping in a real bed. Then boom, lights out, and I wake up in ancient China as a village chief of something called Widow Village. Yeah, you heard that right. Widow Village. See, this dynasty called Deqian had so many wars that all the men died off. My village, Qinghe, lost every single adult male except me. Just me and like 100 women. Sounds like a dream? Hold that thought. The doctor had literally just pronounced me dead when the white cloth on my face started moving. The old doc looked like he'd seen a ghost, which, fair enough, he kind of did. He jabbed me with some needles, and suddenly my eyes popped open. And then, a stampede. At least 15 women rushed me like I was the last pair of shoes at a Black Friday sale. He's alive. Let me touch him. He's warm. Hands everywhere. I'm lying there thinking, this is the greatest dream ever. Can someone turn up the intensity? Maybe lose some layers? I was grinning like an emperor. Then my mom, because of course this body has a mom, screamed at everyone to back off. Party over. Thanks, Mom. Really appreciate the timing. So I'm lying there, processing. The memories of this body start flooding in. Turns out I'm Yidu, a war veteran turned village chief, living in a mud hut with a straw roof. My furniture? 1 table. 2 chairs. That's the whole catalog. My new family. Mom, tough lady, zero chill. And 4 little sisters who look like they haven't eaten a proper meal in their entire lives. The youngest is 10, but looks 5. Like a bobblehead with legs. Mom brings me dinner. It's this gray paste made of random grains, weeds, and rice husks. I took 1 bite, and my taste buds filed for divorce. But then I looked over, and my sisters were staring at my bowl like it was a 5-star steak dinner. I gave it to them. They licked the bowl clean. They licked the chopsticks clean. I'm sitting here thinking, God, you really did me dirty. I had a girlfriend. I had takeout delivery. You deleted my save file and started me on hardcore survival mode with 0 tutorials. I briefly considered dying again to respawn back to my old life. But what if it doesn't work and I just end up double dead? Bad gamble. Oh, and it gets better. I stepped outside and found a bunch of dudes from neighboring villages hanging around like vultures. See, if I die, the government ships all my village widows off to be concubines for other men. These guys showed up for a preview. Shopping before the store opens. One of them actually said, out loud, "How come he didn't die? My free wife just flew away." Another one, "I heard bandits are coming. He'll be dead soon anyway. We'll get our pick eventually." My little sister wanted to fight them. I held her back. Can't start beef when you can't even afford beef. But here's the thing. I'm a modern man trapped in a war veteran's body, running a village full of women who need me alive, eating slop that tastes like sadness, surrounded by creeps waiting for me to drop dead. Challenge accepted. All right, so technically I'm a government employee now. Bottom of the ladder, sure, but still, village chief counts. I'm in the system, baby. First order of business. Figure out how screwed we actually are. The original Ed used to inspect the village regularly, but after he got sick, Mom started feeding him fairy tales. Oh, the crops are wonderful. Someone's daughter got married with a huge dowry. All lies. Classic mom stuff. Tell the dying guy everything's sunshine and rainbows. So I dragged myself out for a proper look around, and honestly, I wish I'd stayed in bed. The good news, underwear. Everywhere. These women hang their laundry out in the open because there's no men around to see it. Some of these ladies are daughters of former court officials. Good-looking women, wearing not much because it's hot, and who's gonna judge? Just me, the only dude in a 10-mile radius, sweating through my robe. The bad news, everything else. Up close, everyone looks half-starved. Dry hair, hollow cheeks, kids running around butt-naked because clothes are apparently a luxury item. The houses are basically stacked mud with prayers holding them together. And the farmland? Cracked earth, weeds taller than the crops, zero hope of a harvest. We're not just poor. Historians will study this, poor. But hey, at least I'm popular. Every woman I passed ran over to say hello. The pretty ones grabbed my hand and held on a little too long. You know, just testing the cadre's moral purity. Sure, ladies. Sure. My sister Xiao Ning was not impressed. She kept giving me the stink eye because the old Yidu apparently treated women like they had cooties. Wouldn't even look at them. Now here I am, diving headfirst into cleavage territory. She's confused. I get it. We passed our family's field where my two youngest sisters, tiny little things, were trying to pull weeds with their bare hands. They'd yank, fall on their butts, wipe their tears, and get right back up. Over and over. I jumped in to help and nearly passed out after 2 pulls. Pathetic. But then something weird happened. A warm energy started flowing through my body. Like someone plugged me into a charger. Based on every TV show I've ever watched, I'm pretty sure that's internal martial arts power. This body came with Kung Fu pre-installed, and nobody told me. A name floated up from the old memories too, Li Gaoqian. The guy who made the original Yidu a war hero, and also the reason he ended up broke and dying in a mud hut. Fun combo. I sent the sisters home and was sitting there wondering how to feed everyone when, BZ, a holographic screen popped up in front of my face. Welcome, Gold Knight. Your exclusive shopping system is now active. Consumer level 1. I almost cried. The heavens sent me a system. Like a magical Amazon Prime floating in my eyeballs. The store had everything. Rice, flour, oil, even a mini tractor. All priced in copper coins. And it has a buyback feature where I can sell raw materials for coins. I checked my pockets. 7 copper coins. My death money. Mom put them there so I could pay my way in the afterlife. Well, sorry afterlife. I'm buying lunch. I went straight for the bulk rice deal. Buy 5 boxes, get 1 free, with complimentary meat soup. In my old life, I would have called this peasant food. In this life, this was a Michelin star banquet. I inhaled an entire box so fast I think I pulled a muscle in my jaw. Xiao Ning licked her box clean. Literally licked it. Then she looked at me with grease on her chin and said, "Big brother, that was amazing." I patted her head. "Stick with me, kid. There's more where that came from." Then 2 girls showed up, the Wang twins, Jia Yi and Shi Yi. 16 years old, identical, absolutely adorable. Their mom sent them with wild Hishowu root as a get-well gift. Sweet gesture. I was about to politely decline when the system went ding. Wild Hishowu. 60 copper coins per gene. Sell 60 coins? For some ugly roots? My entrepreneurial brain caught fire. I gave the twins my leftover rice boxes and they ran home with their little butts bouncing happily. Xiao Ning was furious. "Big brother, Mom and the sisters are starving and you gave our precious white rice to those 2 little hussies." "Girl, calm down. Those hussies just delivered my startup capital." I sent Xiao Ning home with a promise to buy her dried fruit, then mentally hit sell on the roots. The herbs vanished from my basket and 60 copper coins appeared in my hand. Magic. New plan. Go to the nearest town, buy cheap farm products, flip them through the system, stack coins, repeat. I'm basically an ancient Chinese crypto bro, except my scheme actually works. I was marching toward town feeling like a genius when a fat guy on an ox cart pulled up. Lou, the village chief from next door. This clown heard I died and came to gloat. Now that I'm alive, he's even more annoyed. He started hollering to everyone nearby. "Hey everybody, come look at Qinghe village's pathetic fields. Look at their pathetic chief," his buddies piled on. "Careful, he's probably here to steal our crops. Look at his empty basket. Definitely a thief." My face went dark. "Listen, I just came back from the dead. I discovered I have Kung Fu. I have a magical shopping system. I ate real rice for the first time in this body. I am having a good day. And you clowns want to poke the tiger while it's napping?" So these clowns from Zhao village are standing there, laughing at me like I'm the village joke, calling me a crop thief, pointing at my empty basket like it's evidence. Now the old Yidu? That guy was a doormat. Scared of conflict, scared of authority, scared of his own shadow. Took every insult with a smile and a bow. But me? I'm a man who wore the yellow vest of authority. Back in my old life, you could pull up in a Maserati and I'd still make you hand me a cigarette before I let you park. Respect is non-negotiable. So I picked up a stick. "You're accusing me of stealing? Your ox carts just trampled my crops, and you want to talk about theft?" I pointed the stick at them like a sword. "Come on then. Less talking, more fighting." Here's what they didn't calculate. This body used to swing a combat saber at Turkish cavalry for a living. The original Yidu was a soldier. And when I swung that stick, something primal woke up. A killing intent so sharp it could cut air. I cracked Lu Village Chief across the body before he even blinked. Thwack! Down he went like a sack of wet rice. Get him, his boys shouted. But nobody moved, because I had my stick pressed against Lu's throat, drawing just a tiny bead of blood. 1 inch more, and this would have been a murder scene. Honestly, I almost couldn't stop myself. This body has a rage problem. The original Yidu was basically a berserker who retired to farming. No wonder he avoided fights. Once the engine starts, there's no brake pedal. Lu wet his pants. Literally. A grown man, soaking his trousers in broad daylight. Beautiful. So here's your options, I said, nice and calm. Option A. We fight properly, and I finish what I started. Option B. We walk to the county courthouse together, and I show the magistrate what your little field trip did to my crops. Option C. You run. Fun fact about ancient Chinese law. Trampling someone's crops gets you 30 lashes and full compensation. And these geniuses didn't just trample crops. They'd been sneaking into my village stealing wheat sprouts and women's underwear. A police search would have been devastating for them. They picked option C, scattered like cockroaches when the lights come on. Lu scrambled up with pee running down his leg and limped away with his dignity somewhere in the dirt behind him. I spat on the ground. Bullies are the same in every century. Be nice to them, they eat you alive. Show a little teeth, they crumble. Show a lot of teeth, they won't even make eye contact. Anyway, back to making money. I still had 60 copper coins from selling that herb root, minus 3 I spent on a Coke. Yeah, the system sells Coke. I was dying from heat stroke on this dusty road with zero transportation, not even a donkey, burning through my only set of clothes with sweat. 3 coins for a cold bottle of carbonated happiness? Best investment of my life. After walking for what felt like 17 years, I finally reached Masan town and its temple market. There's this little temple called the Red Wall God of Wealth Temple. Fitting, since I'm here to get wealthy. My plan was simple. Buy cheap stuff from farmers, sell it to my magical system, pocket the difference. Arbitrage. Economics 101. Except the plan died on arrival. Because of the drought, grain prices are insane. Regular millet? 30 coins a pound. White rice? 40. Even the crappy brown rice costs 20. With my 57 remaining coins, I could buy approximately. Not enough of anything to matter. I could flip it the other way, buy cheap rice from my system at 5 or 6 coins per pound and sell it at market price. Instant profit. But showing up with 10 pounds of perfect white rice during a famine? That's not business. That's a, please rob me sign. I needed a better angle. And that's when I saw him. Some poor sweaty guy carrying buckets on a shoulder pole, trying to sell something nobody wanted. A fat merchant in silk robes was circling him like a shark, offering 3 measly coins. Brother, just sell them to me. It's hot. They'll stink soon. 3 coins is generous. I walked over and looked in the bucket. Crabs. Big, beautiful, green-shelled, white-bellied crabs. I recognized them instantly. These were shungfang crabs. In my old world, they're in the same league as Yanqing Lake hairy crabs. The kind my girlfriend Xiao Lan used to steam for me. The kind that sell for absolutely stupid money. My heart was pounding as I opened my system store. Purchase price, 40 coins. Per crab. Not per pound. Per individual crab. The fat merchant was trying to buy the whole lot for 3 coins total. My system would pay 40 coins for one. The crab guy saw me staring at his buckets with what must have been the most unhinged grin in ancient Chinese history. He practically sprinted over, grabbed my sleeve, and begged, "Sir, please. Fresh river crabs. 10 coins a pound. I'll sell you everything. 10 coins a pound." When the system pays 40 coins per crab, and there's probably 4 or 5 crabs per pound. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we call this a business opportunity. Let me do some quick math here, because my brain is literally on fire. 1 pound in ancient China equals 16 liang. Each crab is about 3 liang. So 10 coins buys me roughly 5 crabs. 5 crabs times 40 coins each in my system equals 200 coins. 10 coins in, 200 coins out. That's a 2,000% return. 60 coins becomes over 1,000. This is more profitable than robbing a government treasury, and way less stabby. I was about to throw my money at the crab guy when this silk-robed fatso, Chin Dafa, local big-shot seafood buyer, stepped in front of me like a human speed bump. "Friend, this must be your first day doing business. Yes, he gave me that slimy smile rich people use when they're about to ruin your day. None of your business, I said. It is my business. I'm the biggest seafood buyer on this street. You come in here paying fair prices and you'll ruin the market for everyone. None of your business. He didn't like that. So he sent his attack dog, a one-eyed mountain of muscle named Lugon, local street enforcer, famous for beating people up and allegedly murdering a merchant last year. Threw the body in the canal. Real charming fellow. Be smart, kid, One Eye growled, cracking his knuckles. Give our boss some face. Go back where you came from. The poor crab seller was tugging my sleeve, whispering, Sir, please just go. You don't know these people. They're dangerous. I looked One Eye dead in his. Well, and if I don't give face, he raised his fist. I raised my chin. And then, perfect timing, a squad of soldiers came marching through on patrol. What's all this noise? The silk merchant vanished so fast he left a cartoon dust cloud. One Eye backed off. Everyone suddenly became very interested in their own shoes. One of the soldiers looked at me funny. Then he noticed my water canteen. It was a military-issue one, the kind only high-ranking officers carry. The original Yidu brought it back from his army days. The soldier's whole attitude did a complete 180. He snapped to attention and whispered, Private Yi Chi, Unit 772, 137th Battalion, reporting to you, SIR. He thought I was an undercover military officer on a secret mission. No weapons, no troops, shopping for crabs at a street market. Clearly deep cover stuff. Very classified. Much important. I played it cool. At ease. Here, drink this. I handed him my canteen with the leftover ice-cold Coke inside. He swapped me his brand new canteen and practically bowed his way out. Later I imagine him and his squad sharing that Coke in the shade somewhere, minds blown, convinced their mysterious commander drinks some kind of heavenly elixir. Honestly, accidentally getting military street cred from a half-empty bottle of Coca-Cola might be the greatest trade deal in history. One Eye came slithering back after the soldiers left, of course. You've got guts. The last guy with guts like yours? The grass on his grave is taller than me. Come find me anytime, I said, not even looking up from the crabs. The other vendors were whispering. Some impressed, most thinking I was an idiot with a death wish. Whatever. Let them talk. Meanwhile, the crab seller had literally fainted when the soldiers showed up. I had to poke him awake. Dude, they were 3 regular guys with swords. Get up. He blinked at me like a baby deer. Sir, I'm just naturally afraid of military people. They look at me, and I pass out. This guy. This absolute marshmallow of a man. We weighed the crabs. 5 pounds 8 liang. He offered to round down to 4 pounds, 40 coins. Even now, with bullies circling, he was trying to give me a discount because he felt bad about my situation. Then he told me why he needed the money. His dad was sick. He just wanted to buy a little meat to make his father some porridge. But meat costs 50 or 60 coins a pound during the drought, so 40 coins wouldn't get him much. My heart did something weird. I think it was feelings. Tell you what, I said, give me back the 40 coins. I'll sell you 2 pounds of pork instead. Market price for 2 pounds of pork? Over 100 coins. I was charging him 40. The big guy dropped to his knees right there in the dirt. Full-on forehead-to-ground kowtow. Tears streaming. You're a saint. Wang Lao Wu will never forget this. I pulled him up. Just watch my crabs while I go get the meat. I walked around the corner, opened my system, bought 2 pounds of pork for cheap, and came back looking like a pig farmer who just happened to be in the neighborhood. Behind me, I could already hear the other vendors laughing at poor Wang Lao Wu, calling him gullible, saying I'd never come back, saying he'd just given away his crabs and his dignity for nothing. Joke's on them. I'm about to turn those crabs into a fortune, and I just made a friend who's loyal enough to guard seafood with his life. Every empire starts somewhere. Mine starts with a crying man and a bucket of crabs. So I needed to find a private spot to use my system. Can't exactly have 2 pounds of pork materialize out of thin air in front of a crowd. Hey everyone, watch me pull meat from an invisible magic store that only I can see. Yeah, that's a one-way ticket to being burned as a witch. I walked further and further from the market looking for a quiet corner. Totally normal behavior. Absolutely not suspicious at all. But of course, every single vendor watching me leave decided I was running away. Scared of the silk merchant. A coward. A fraud. Huh. Some tough guy. Ran off with his tail between his legs. Did you see how skinny he was? fighting Lugan. Please, he shouldn't have come here stirring up trouble. Now we'll all pay for it. Classic bystander energy. Won't help you, won't fight for you, but absolutely will roast you behind your back. Meanwhile, poor Wang Laowu was standing guard over my crabs like a loyal golden retriever, sweating bullets, wondering if I was actually coming back. Everyone told him I wouldn't. But somehow, and I genuinely respect this, the big guy just straightened his back and waited. Heart of gold on that one. Now here's the part that makes my blood boil, and I didn't even see it happen until later. While I was off shopping in my invisible magic Costco, that silk weasel Chindafa scurried over to the market manager's private hangout, a fancy blue tile house built from stolen temple bricks. Inside, the market boss, Commissioner Liu, was living his best corrupt life. Table covered in food and wine, surrounded by tattooed thugs on his payroll, and, I kid you not, a widow was sitting in his lap while his hands went on an unauthorized expedition under her skirt. This guy? This government official, running a market the size of a parking lot like he's some kind of crime lord. He's got fingers in gambling dens, brothels, and apparently also in that widow's dress. Last merchant who threatened to report him? Found dead on the roadside. Head displayed at the market entrance. Bandits, they said. Sure. So Silk Weasel walks in and tattles. Some village chief humiliated me. He's buying crabs at fair prices. The audacity. The clerk recognized my description immediately. Oh, that's just the Qinghe village chief. Total pushover. Went begging the town mayor for disaster relief. Got nothing. Almost died of embarrassment. Literally, Silk Weasel nearly exploded. I was scared of that guy. Back in the city, I could have had him thrown in a river before lunch. Commissioner Liu, ever the gentleman, squeezed his lap widow one more time and stood up. Don't worry, little brother. Nobody disrespects my turf. Let me handle this. He grabbed 3 goons with clubs and wobbled drunkenly toward the market. A hammered government official leading an armed squad to bully a crab farmer. Justice system working perfectly. They found Wang Laowu still guarding my crabs. Commissioner Liu put on his fake nice voice. You know the one. Sounds like honey poured over a knife. Wang Laowu, right? I heard about your sick father. Very touching. We even waived your stall fee out of kindness. But you've been disrupting market order, so now you need to pay 5 coins for your stall. Or leave. Your choice. The trap was beautiful in its cruelty. The officials had already taken a dozen crabs from Lao Wu as an unofficial fee when he set up. Now they wanted money too. And if he couldn't pay, well, his good friend Qin Dafa was right there, willing to help by buying everything at rock-bottom prices. Lao Wu dropped to his knees. Please, the other buyer offered 10 coins a pound. Can't you at least match? Silk Weasel's smile could have frozen lava. 10 coins? Then where is he? If he had money, why'd he run? Then the prices dropped. From 3 coins per pound to 2. Because the crabs were looking tired. A crab. Looking tired. These crabs were literally climbing over each other trying to escape the bucket. And this man said they looked tired. A tofu-selling auntie couldn't take it anymore. This is robbery. It's against the law. Her husband turned white as his own tofu. Silk Weasel laughed, then stopped laughing. Oh, you want to play? Fine. Your tofu business is done here too. An older merchant tried to smooth things over. She didn't mean it. Please, give me some face. Face? Who are you to ask me for face? Anyone else want to talk? Nobody sells here again. He kicked over half a bucket of crabs for emphasis. Live crabs scattered across the dirt. Power move. Very dramatic. Very illegal. Nobody cared. The vendors went silent. Some whispered to their spouses about never coming back. Everyone was thinking the same thing. I have a family. This isn't my fight. Then Commissioner Liu nodded to his goons. They moved toward Lao Wu's bucket. Not to buy, not to negotiate. To take. Lao Wu hugged his crab bucket like it was his firstborn child. Face white, hands shaking, but holding on. He knew they weren't going to pay him anything. Not 2 coins, not 1. This was a robbery wearing a government hat. And the worst part? He couldn't even fight back. Not because he was weak, but because he had parents at home. Old, sick parents who'd have nobody if he got thrown in jail, or worse. Total despair. The kind where your grip loosens and your eyes go empty. And then, bang. A water bucket flew through the air and slammed into one of the goons. Guess who's back? I came back carrying several pounds of greasy pork in one hand and slammed my other hand on the crab bucket like a judge dropping a gavel. Who told you to touch MY crabs? Every single person in that market had written me off. Gone. Coward. Running scared. And here I am, strolling back with meat dripping from my fist like some kind of caveman returning from the hunt. Lao Wu almost had a heart attack, half from relief that I actually came back, half from terror because he noticed the knife tucked in my belt. Sir, please run. There's too many of them. Silk Weasel Chin was practically vibrating with rage. Oh, the little turtle crawled back out of his shell? I tilted my head. Funny you mentioned turtles. When those soldiers walked by earlier, you disappeared so fast I thought you teleported. Who's the turtle again? The entire market gasped. You could hear jaws hitting the floor like dominoes. The vendors were losing their minds. Not because they were impressed, because they were terrified. I wasn't just poking the bear. I was poking two bears. Silk Weasel and Commissioner Liu, the drunk government thug who ran this market like his personal kingdom. These two could end everyone's livelihood with a snap. Some smart vendors tried to leave. Nope. The exits were blocked. Commissioner Liu had stationed a dozen club-wielding goons at every gate. This market was now a cage, and I was locked in with the animals. Wait, let me correct that. The animals were locked in with me. Commissioner Liu smirked. Village Chief Yi, you think you're walking out of here today? Silk Weasel was grinning like Christmas came early. Behind me, Lao Wu, this beautiful, terrified marshmallow of a man, picked up his carrying pole like a weapon. Sir, when the fight starts, I'll cover you so you can escape. He can barely look at soldiers without fainting, but he grabbed a stick for me. I swear I'm adopting this man. The tofu lady elbowed her husband. You've studied books your whole life. Now is the time for justice. The tofu scholar turned white as his own product. Justice how? Should I throw tofu at them? If I'd actually pass my exams and become a magistrate, sure, I'd help. But right now I'm a tofu salesman, someone nearby muttered. Even if you were a magistrate, these local thugs would still run the show. Accurate. Depressing. Moving on. Commissioner Liu barked. Kuan-zi. Break him. Outstepped their champion fighter. This guy was huge. Arms thicker than my legs. A former street fighter from the capital who'd nearly been executed before Liu saved him. Known for being absolutely vicious. Cracked his knuckles so loud it sounded like fireworks. He looked at me like I was a snack. Why'd you have to go and make trouble, kid? This is suicide. He threw a punch at my head. Full power. The kind of punch that turns skulls into modern art. Everyone screamed. Lao Wu shrieked, dodge. I turned around and looked at Lao Wu. Calmly. Mid-punch. Relax. I'm doing you a favor today. Building karma. Then my foot flicked a bamboo pole off the ground. It spun through the air, landed perfectly in my hands, and I whipped it around so fast it created afterimages. Military spear technique. Golden Rooster pecks wildly. Learned on actual battlefields against actual cavalry. Not exactly designed for market disputes, but hey, improvise, adapt, overcome. I jabbed Kuan-zi in the stomach before his fist even reached me. Blood sprayed. His face went from, I'm going to kill you, to, I have made a terrible career decision, in about half a second. But the idiot didn't quit. Grabbed his club, screamed something about beating up retired soldiers, and swung at my head again. Buddy, read the room. I just poked a hole in you with a bamboo stick. You had your chance, I said. I thrust the bamboo pole straight through his shoulder, then yanked it out and smacked him across the skull. He flew backward, crashed at Liu and Chin's feet like a returned package. Delivery complete. Signature not required. He's useless, Liu screamed at his own bleeding, half-conscious fighter. Zero sympathy for the guy who just got skewered defending his paycheck. Great boss energy. Then Liu lost it completely. Pride fully shattered. Face redder than his wine-stained cheeks. He pointed at me and screamed at every goon in the market. All of you. Beat him to death. 20-something club-wielding thugs charged me at once. Lao Wu swung his carrying pole, trying to help. I kicked him behind me. Sorry, buddy, but you'd last about 3 seconds in this blender. Now look, the original Yidu was already a combat machine. Battlefield veteran, trained with sabers, fought actual nomadic warriors. Then add MY skills from my previous life. Half a year of combat training under a retired mercenary who taught our security team. Combine those two skill sets in one body. These clowns had no chance. I jumped into the crowd with my bamboo stick and went absolutely feral. Light hits left bruises the size of dinner plates. Hard hits went through people. The bamboo splintered flesh like it was made of steel. Nobody could get within striking distance. It was like watching a blender fight a bag of grapes. In seconds, literal seconds, over a dozen bodies were on the ground, moaning, bleeding, crying for their mothers. The rest were backing away so fast they were tripping over each other. Lao Wu's eyes were the size of rice bowls. He beat all of them. With a stick, I walked slowly toward Lu and Qin. The entire market was dead silent, just groaning from the floor. I smiled, the kind of smile that makes people reconsider their life choices. Hey, don't back up now. You'll be turtles. Lu's face cycled through every color. Red, white, purple, green, like a human mood ring having a seizure. Then he made a decision. He raised his hand, and on the roof of the temple behind him, a man appeared, cold-eyed, steady hands, holding a loaded crossbow, aimed directly at my face. Oh, well, that escalates things. So there I am, 20 beaten goons scattered around me like fallen leaves, holding a bamboo stick dripping blood, and Commissioner Lu pulls out his big brain argument. You can fight. So what? Fighting means nothing. He started monologuing like a movie villain. It's about status, about power, about connections. I've seen tougher guys than you. One crossbow bolt, and they're pushing up daisies. I can send one letter to the courthouse and have you executed by Thursday. And honestly, he wasn't completely wrong. This guy wasn't dangerous because he was tough. He was dangerous because he wore a government robe. That little piece of fabric was scarier than any fist. It's why the locals never killed him. You can punch a bully, but you can't punch a bureaucracy. But here's what this fool didn't realize. He just showed a crossbow in public. In Deqian, crossbows are military-grade contraband. Civilians having one is like waving a neon sign that says, "Please arrest me." A retired soldier reporting illegal weapons? That's not a complaint. That's a gift-wrapped promotion for whatever military officer investigates it. And that's when the light bulb hit me. The original Yi Du was an idiot. Not because he was weak. The man was a walking war crime with a spear. He was an idiot because he forgot who his people were. He retired from the army and started begging civilian officials for rice. Bro, you're a military appointee. The emperor specifically put ex-soldiers as village chiefs to keep local corruption in check. Your backup isn't the county magistrate, it's the army. It's like being a cop's kid and calling the school bully's mom instead of your dad. Know your resources. I told Lu to let the vendors leave first. He thought I was being noble. Really, I just didn't want Wang Lao Wu catching a stray crossbow bolt. That marshmallow wouldn't survive a strong breeze, let alone a battlefield. Lu agreed. He actually wanted witnesses gone. Easier to kill me and dump the body. Classic criminal thinking. The vendors fled like the market was on fire. Some were tripping over each other, carts flipping, produce flying. Lao Wu refused to leave and had to be physically dragged away by other vendors, his heels scraping grooves in the dirt. I'd be touched if I wasn't busy preparing to commit violence. Even Silk Weasel Qin snuck away. Before leaving, he gave me this long, calculating stare, like he was mentally bookmarking me for later. Smart rat. Knows when to abandon ship. Once everyone was gone, I got to work, pulled my ox-ear knife from my belt, lashed it to the bamboo pole, and in 2 seconds flat, I had a 7-foot combat spear. Proper military engineering. MacGyver would be proud. I was about 3 seconds from turning Commissioner Lu into a historical footnote when thunder, not actual thunder, hooves. A horse came blasting through the market entrance so fast that vendors who hadn't fully left dove for their lives. One guy fell flat and just closed his eyes, accepting death. But the rider was skilled. The horse literally jumped over the fallen man like a steeplechase and kept galloping. I squinted at the rider and my brain exploded. Zhao Zichu. Memories came flooding back. Battlefield memories. Real ones. The kind the original Yi Du had been suppressing. Fighting alongside brothers in arms, outnumbered, cutting through enemy cavalry, watching their king personally ride into battle and behead 27 enemy warriors, only for the civilian officials to erase every military achievement from the records afterward. Politics. Even in ancient China, it's always politics. I quickly wiped the blood and sweat off myself and straightened my clothes. Can't let an old army buddy see me looking like a wet alley cat. 17 bro. Is that you? Zhu jumped off his horse and snapped a military salute. Oh God. 17. That was the original WIDOWS army nickname. 17 times something. I don't even want to know the full version. Deeply embarrassing. Maybe you've got the wrong guy. Didn't number 17 die in battle? I tried. I'd recognize you anywhere. What happened to you? Why do you look like this? Just a small disagreement with that gentleman over there. I chin-pointed at Lu, who was watching us with growing unease. Zhu looked at Lu. Looked back at me. His face went through confusion, then pity, then pure rage. Who's bothering you? I transferred to garrison duty, but my new commander loves me. I can absolutely make problems for someone. Nah, it's fine, just a crab dispute. But Zhu was already walking toward Lu, one hand on his army saber. Hey, old man, see this blade? Be smart. Leave. Now Lu laughed. Laughed. And who are you? A garrison grunt? Threatening a government official? I could have you killed on the spot for leaving your post. His goons backed him up. That's our commissioner, Lu. So powerful. So handsome. Lu puffed up. This is Tsangzhou. Civilians run things here. Even your captain wouldn't dare touch me. Zhu's eye twitched. He reached to his belt and pulled out a whistle. Then he blew it so hard his face turned red. Lu cackled. A whistle? You think this is a battlefield? This is MY territory. Your little military games don't work. And then the earth started shaking. Boom, 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 boom. Hooves. Dozens of them. The patrol soldiers from earlier came storming in from every direction, fully armed, riding hard, and bouncing on the back of one horse, looking absolutely wrecked, green in the face, barely conscious. Was the town mayor himself, kidnapped mid-nap and strapped to a saddle. Lu's face went from smug to confused to, I have made a catastrophic miscalculation, in about 2 seconds. That whistle wasn't a toy. It was a military emergency signal. And Zhu didn't just call for backup. He called the entire garrison. The cavalry squad leader jumped off his horse, walked right past Commissioner Lu like the man was invisible furniture, and went straight to Zhao Zhu. Commander, are you hurt? Commander, my boy Zhu wasn't just some regular grunt. He was a team leader, a whole military officer. And he'd been acting casual this whole time like, yeah, I'll put in a good word for you, bro. Understatement of the dynasty. Then the squad leader turned around, saw me holding a horse and smiling, and his eyes went wide. He ran over and dropped to his knees. Full kowtow, forehead to dirt. 17, bro. Your little brother pays his respects. Oh, come on. Not the nickname again. Get up, man. We're veterans. Stop kneeling. Meanwhile, the town mayor, who'd been kidnapped off his chair and bounced on horseback until his soul nearly left his body, stumbled over to Commissioner Lu and started slapping him across the face. Smack. 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 Lu Datian, have you lost your mind? Who told you to mess with village chief Wai? The mayor knew. He knew who I was, or at least knew enough to know that bothering me was a career-ending decision. And here was his subordinate, who'd ordered a crossbow aimed at my face. Lu stood there taking slaps like a human punching bag. Didn't dare breathe loud. Zhu twisted the knife deeper. Is this how you manage your town, Mayor? If we hadn't shown up, would my brother be dead right now? And a crossbow? That's contraband. Who gave him permission? Was it you? Are you planning a rebellion? The R word. Rebellion. In ancient China, that's not an accusation. It's a death sentence for your entire family tree. Lu's face went from scared to absolutely paralyzed. See, the garrison normally doesn't touch civilian affairs. One exception, suspected rebellion. Then they don't file paperwork. They just kill you and collect the bounty. Lu crashed to his knees in front of me so fast, he probably cracked his kneecaps. Village Chief Yi. I was foolish. I was blind. Hit me. Punish me. Whatever you want. The vendors who'd pretended to leave. They were all hiding behind walls, peeking around corners, watching the most powerful man at the market groveling at the feet of a skinny kid who'd shown up with an empty basket 2 hours ago. Their brains were short-circuiting. Does this kid have connections in heaven? Lu wouldn't kneel like that for the county magistrate. Even Silk Weasel Chin, hiding in the shadows, was having a full existential crisis. He'd been mentally planning my funeral earlier. Now he was mentally planning his own. Here's what I'd figured out. The political winds were shifting. The emperor was sick of corrupt civilian officials and had started appointing military veterans to government positions. First village chiefs like me. Next would be county-level posts. Zhu and his boys were riding high because their new commander was clearly someone with serious authority. And all the soldiers kept dismounting and saluting me, one after another. like I was reviewing troops. Because in the army, number 17 wasn't a joke. It was a legend. The original Yi Du had been an absolute monster on the battlefield. He just forgot his own value the moment he took off the uniform. Zhu leaned over and gave me a look. I read it instantly. Battlefield brothers don't need words. His whole dramatic performance was mostly bluff. If the military actually wanted Lu dead, there'd be no speeches. Just a blade and a shallow grave. The theatrics were for show, big enough to terrify, small enough to avoid paperwork. Could I have asked Zhu to actually kill Lu? Honestly, yeah. My old comrades would have handled cleanup without blinking. But I'm retired now, and I don't need that kind of heat falling on my brothers. Fine, I said, looking down at the trembling Lu. Your apology is acceptable. I'll let you live. Lu's face lit up like sunrise. Don't get happy yet, I added. Killing a government official in broad daylight is messy, but accidents happen. Bandits on dark roads. Bodies found in ditches. Very tragic. Very unsolvable. You understand? His light went out. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. From now on, village chief Yi does business here tax-free. No stall fees. Best spot in the market. Forever. After we left, I'm told Lu stayed on his knees for a very long time. Just kneeling, staring at the ground, reconsidering every decision that led him to this moment. His clerk eventually shut down the entire market. Lu went to the back room, vented his stress, with the widow again, classy as always, then gathered his remaining conscious employees for a team meeting. It's over. Nobody retaliates. Nobody even thinks about that kid again. The whole province is about to change. The emperor is putting military men in charge everywhere. These lunatics only care about the throne. Our days of easy money are done. Silk Weasel Chin went pale. No more tax evasion, not even a little. The military running government? Those people are animals. They wiped out entire noble families up north just for disobeying. Welcome to the new reality. And me? I was already on horseback, riding toward the military garrison with Zhu. He'd gotten me a horse and, funny thing, turns out this body can still ride like a champion. Muscle memory is a beautiful thing. After about an hour, I saw it, a major road under construction, workers everywhere, military activity buzzing. And it clicked. Zhu grinned. Figured out who my new boss is? I nodded. The new garrison commander. Li Kuai. A name that clearly meant something big to the original Yi Du. Another piece of the puzzle falling into place. My past life in this body was way more interesting than anyone let on. I rode toward the garrison thinking, 2 hours ago, I was a broke village chief buying crabs with funeral money. Now I'm riding a military horse to meet a high-ranking commander, with a free market stall, a magical shopping system, and an army buddy who'll go to war for me over shellfish. Not bad for day one. No wonder Zhao Zhu was acting like he owned the whole town. This guy wasn't just some random soldier. He was riding the coattails of the new garrison commander, a Zhechong Due. That's basically the military governor of the entire region. And not just any commander. It was Li Kuai, a certified battlefield legend. The guy earned the nickname Little Fan Kuai, which is like being called Mini Captain America in ancient Chinese terms. He'd fought alongside the greatest general of the era, crushed entire kingdoms, and now he'd been assigned to Zhangzhou to clean house. A Zhechong Due outranks county magistrates, has authority over both military and civilian affairs, farming, census, everything. And this particular one came from a powerful noble family with political connections stretching to the capital. So yeah, Zhao Zhu wasn't bluffing at the market. He had a nuclear option backing him up. We rode into the garrison camp, and honestly, it was depressing. The soldiers stationed here were, well, imagine a football team made up of toddlers and grandfathers. Some of these warriors looked like they'd lose a fight to a strong wind. Rusty armor, broken weapons, zero morale. The officers, real combat veterans transferred from the front lines, were walking around with the defeated expressions of professional chefs forced to cook with only ketchup and stale bread. I got it, though. Years of war had drained the empire dry. Every able-bodied man was either dead, fighting nomads up north, or hiding. All that was left for domestic defense was the human equivalent of leftovers. We found Commander Li Kuai in his tent, wearing a scholar's robe instead of armor, playing a guqin. A beautiful woman in red was burning incense beside him. Very artsy. Very tormented genius. Aesthetic. I sat down with Zhu and listened. The music was actually gorgeous, but underneath the pretty notes, I could hear it. Frustration. A warrior's rage with nowhere to go. A man who conquered battlefields now stuck babysitting a province full of problems he couldn't sort his way through. While he played, I grabbed paper and a brush and started writing. Couldn't help myself. Between my modern knowledge and the original WIDOWS military experience, ideas were flowing faster than the music. 17. Since when do you appreciate music? Li Kuai finished playing and smirked at me. I don't know anything about music, I admitted. But I can hear a man who wants to fight and has no one to fight. Then his daughter appeared. Li Yi. Red dress. Face like a painting. Hair like a waterfall. The kind of beautiful that makes Zhao Zhu swallow his own tongue mid-sentence. She drew her father's sword and swung it at me, so fast the air whistled. Some kind of hello, apparently. It's Yi. You've grown up, I blurted out as the memories clicked. Are you saying I was small before? She looked ready to stab me for real. Oh, now I remember. Years ago, in the army camp, there was this little kid squatting with bare butt out, doing their business in the military zone. The original Yi Du, as the discipline officer, ran over and kicked the kid in the butt. Turns out that kid was the commander's daughter. She has not forgotten. It's been years and she's still mad about the butt kick. Women and elephants, man. They never forget. Li Kuai sent her away so we could talk business, and I handed him my paper. It was a strategic plan, how to feed his starving troops, how to rapidly build combat capability from his ragtag army of grandpas and babies, and how to actually accomplish his mission of stabilizing the region. 2 lifetimes of knowledge crammed into one document. His face went through about 7 emotions while reading. Surprise, shock, disbelief, then something close to awe. This is the 2nd time you've saved me, he said, and tried to bow to me. A garrison commander, bowing to a broke village chief. Sir, are you trying to get me killed? A commander bowing to a village chief? People will think I'm blackmailing you. E came storming back. Dad, why are you bowing to this? This butt kicker, I laid it out for her. Your dad has 3 massive problems. 1. Drought means his soldiers can't grow enough food, and if soldiers starve on his watch, the court blames him. 2. His troops are too old and too young to actually fight, so if bandits attack or nobles rebel, he's toast. 3. The local noble families have private armies that could steamroll this garrison in a heartbeat. My document solves problems 1 and 2. Problem 3. Nobody can solve that without major reinforcements. Li Kuai confirmed everything. The emperor had sent him to Zhangzhou with big ambitions, but 0 resources. Like being told to build a house with no wood, no nails, and no floor. Then I dropped my bonus strategy. Split your forces. Keep the best fighters at the garrison. Send the old veterans out to the villages. They can train local militia, protect civilians, and eat village food instead of military rations. You save supplies, villages get security, everyone wins. Li Kuai's eyes lit up. E snatched my paper to read it herself, then immediately tried to act unimpressed. If you're so smart, why are you just a village chief? Believe what you want, I shrugged. Her nose literally scrunched sideways with anger. I could tell she was mentally composing a list titled, Reasons I Hate You Do, and it was getting very long. I also wrote a 2nd document, a plan for a massive irrigation canal project that could save the entire region from drought. The catch? It required military-level organization. If corrupt civilian officials ran it, they'd embezzle the funds, overwork the peasants, and probably spark a rebellion. History literally repeats itself. The Yuan dynasty collapsed because of exactly this kind of project gone wrong. Li Kuai agreed it was brilliant but too risky for him to execute personally. He'd forward it up the chain and let the court decide. We chatted more after that. Li Kuai shared what he knew about the bigger picture. The emperor was planning a massive final war against the Turkic nomads. A decisive, all-or-nothing battle to end the northern threat forever. The scale of that future war gave me chills. Not excitement chills, worry chills. A war that big would grind up countless ordinary people. I rode home with a full brain and mixed feelings. In one afternoon, I'd gone from crab shopping to war strategy. I'd reconnected with old military brothers, secured a powerful ally, gotten free market privileges, and accidentally become a political consultant. The original Yidu spent his retirement feeling sorry for himself and begging civilian officials for scraps. Meanwhile, he had this network, battle-tested brothers, a rising star commander, and enough military prestige to make a market boss wet his pants. All he had to do was pick up the phone. Metaphorically, phones won't exist for about 12 centuries. So I didn't just give Commander Li Kuai free military consulting like some ancient Chinese pro bono lawyer. Oh no, I got paid. 40,000 copper coins. A whole sack. So heavy I needed a horse just to carry it home. Li Kuai called it an investment from the garrison. The deal was simple. Take the money, do business, share profits later. If I somehow blew it all, he'd take the farming rights to my village's wasteland as collateral. But we both knew that was just on paper. The military wasn't going to actually come plow my dirt fields. The real purpose was a giant, protected by the army, sign stamped on my village. Anyone eyeing our land would now have to ask themselves, do I really want to mess with the military? A normal person would have been terrified taking army money. Too much pressure. Too many strings. Me? I have a magic shopping system. You could give me 400,000 coins and I'd sleep like a baby. Now here's the part one didn't witness but found out about later. What happened in Li Kuai's tent after I left? His daughter, Yi, was furious. Dad, we're broke. You just gave our food budget to that butt-kicking delinquent. Li Kuai just smiled and held up my strategy document. This paper alone is worth 100,000 coins. Then he dropped the bomb. Told her who I actually was. Not number 17 who pooped 17 times. That was just a dumb cover story the original Yidu made up. The real meaning of 17 was the guy who changed battle tactics 17 times in a single night, forcing an entire Turkic army to retreat. The original Yidu was the personal guard captain, the Dunlo of Li Gaoqian, the most legendary general in the entire dynasty. The guy who took 3,000 soldiers against 30,000 Turks and won. The man who once made the enemy Khan abandon his own war banner and flee. And Yidu was his right hand, the brain behind the muscle. Yi's jaw nearly hit the floor. She'd spent years in the army celebrating Li Gaoqian's victories, toasting his desert campaigns, his border massacres, his 8,000 enemy heads at Yunzhou. She'd literally fantasized about marrying someone that legendary. And the guy who made half those victories possible had been standing in her tent getting yelled at about gift etiquette. But wait, she said. Li Gaoqian defected. He fled to the Turks. Shouldn't Yidu be dead? Li Kuai explained. Someone powerful protected him. Not just anyone. The Prince of Yan, the Emperor's own son, commander of 50,000 elite troops in the north. A man so impressive that court officials whispered he might surpass the Emperor himself someday. And how did the prince meet Yidu? He'd gone undercover in the army as a cook's assistant. One day he was squatting in the latrine area, and Yidu, the discipline officer, ran up and kicked him in the butt. Just like Yi. Same guy, same move. Universal butt kicking. The prince didn't execute him. Instead, they became sworn brothers. And when Li Gaoqian's defection happened, and everyone connected to him was getting purged, the prince quietly arranged for Yidu to be demoted to village chief instead of beheaded. Not just any village chief. Chief of a village full of beautiful women. It was literally a go hide somewhere nice and enjoy yourself assignment. Except the original Yidu was too proud and too stupid to enjoy it or ask for help. He just sat in his mud hut, starving, refusing to contact his military connections. Classic tough guy syndrome. Yi's face went through about 47 emotions in 30 seconds. So this goofball is backed by the Prince of Yan, kicked royalty in the butt, and is best friends with the future emperor. And that, Li Kuai said, sipping tea on his couch like the smuggest dad alive, is why 4,000 coins is a bargain. Meanwhile, I, blissfully unaware of my own epic backstory, was riding back to the market feeling like a king. 40,000 coins. I'm rich. Then reality punched me in the face. I stopped at the horse and cart shop. The owner was napping. He woke up, saw my fat money bag and nice horse, and suddenly became my best friend. Welcome, welcome. Buying or selling? I pointed at the fanciest horse and carriage in his shop. How much? Horse, 120,000. Cart, 30,000. Bundle deal, 145,000. My brain made a sound like a broken guitar string. Are you joking, sir? You carry a knife. I don't joke with armed men. This horse is 3 years old, prime of life. The carriage is mastercrafted. In the capital this would cost 200,000 minimum. I stood there, doing math, watching my wealthy tycoon fantasy crumble in real time. My 40,000 coins, which felt like a fortune 10 minutes ago, couldn't even buy one horse in this economy. Back in my old life, I didn't even make enough to buy a car. Now I've been reincarnated and I still can't afford a car. The universe is consistent in its cruelty. I swallowed my pride and bought what I could actually afford. One ox, 30,000 coins, and one cargo cart, 9,000 coins. Spent almost everything. So I went from galloping in on a military stallion to sitting on an ox cart going 3 miles per hour. The downgrade was physically painful, but at least I had wheels. My village didn't even have a donkey before today. I spent my last 1,000 coins on 200 pounds of rice from my system, loaded up the ox cart, and creaked my way back to the market. The market was already buzzing again. Commissioner Liu had reopened it, and everyone was back hustling like nothing happened. Survival doesn't take days off. Liu had saved me the best stall in the market, with goons guarding it so nobody could touch it. The second he saw me arrive, he came scurrying over like a golden retriever looking for forgiveness. I shooed him away like a fly. Listen, I appreciate the groveling, but I just learned that 40,000 coins can't even buy a fancy horse. I'm in no mood for small talk. I've got rice to sell, crabs to flip, and an empire to build, one copper coin at a time. Being rich is a lot more expensive than I thought. When I rolled back into the market, I was a celebrity. News travels fast in ancient China. By the time my ox cart creaked through the gate, every single vendor had heard the story. That crazy kid beat up 20 thugs, made Commissioner Liu kneel and pee himself, then rode off on a military horse. I went from random skinny stranger to legendary warrior hero in about 2 hours. And of course, suddenly everyone was my biggest fan. Oh, I knew he was special the moment I saw him. When he was fighting Liu's goons, I was cheering from the crowd. We're practically brothers. Sure you were, buddy. I distinctly remember you hiding behind a barrel of turnips. Meanwhile, the people who actually helped me, dead silent about it. Wang Laowu was just sitting there hugging his pork, grinning like an idiot, watching my crabs, not saying a word. Tofu Lady was calmly selling tofu like she hadn't yelled at a crime boss to his face 3 hours ago. Real ones don't brag. Respect. I parked my ox cart, set up at the premium stall Liu had reserved for me, with armed guards keeping it empty, very different treatment from this morning, and opened for business. 200 pounds of rice. Beautiful, plump, glistening grains that looked like edible pearls. System-bought quality that made local rice look like gravel. Millet, 25 coins a pound. White rice, 30 coins a pound. Market price was 40 for rice and 30 for millet. I was the cheapest and best quality vendor in town. People swarmed me. Tofu Lady bought 10 pounds immediately. Laowu wanted some, but had no money left. He'd spent everything on the pork I sold him. He scratched his head like a confused bear. Sir, if I go catch more crabs and bring them to your village later, can I get rice now? I scooped out 2 pounds into a plastic bag. Yes, the system sells plastic bags. 1 coin for 10. The future is here, and handed it to him. Take this. Cook porridge for your dad. Bring crabs to Qinghe village whenever you can. Leave your bucket as collateral. He almost cried again. This man cries more than a soap opera actress. But he's so genuine it actually gets me every time. He walked away with pork on one shoulder and rice in his hand, looking like the happiest man in the dynasty. Now here's where the real magic happened. When nobody was looking, I touched the crab bucket and sell. All the high-value crabs vanished into the system. 4-digit profit instantly. Then I spawned some regular farm-raised crabs to refill the bucket so it still looked normal. Used the profits to buy another 200 pounds of rice from the system. Loaded it onto my cart behind the cover of the ox. Nobody saw a thing. For 100 pounds total. Sold out in no time. The market vendors bought it all. They needed food as badly as everyone else. By the time I stopped, I had over 20,000 copper coins. From basically nothing this morning, I am officially a middleman. A reseller. A flipper. An ancient Chinese arbitrage specialist. My business school is a floating holographic shopping mall that only I can see, and my MBA is, don't get caught. Riding high on success, I started exploring the town for more opportunities. Grain trading was great, but I couldn't keep magically producing rice without people asking questions. I needed a proper shop eventually. What else could I sell? Salt. I visited the government salt shop. In Deqian, salt is a state monopoly. Only the government can sell it. The stuff they had was awful. Coarse, dirty, gritty, mixed with sand, and it tasted bitter. 125 coins per bushel. And apparently this was cheap. A few years ago it cost 500. I checked my system. Fine-grade refined salt. 6 coins per pound. The profit margin made my head spin. Over 20 times markup. But selling salt privately is literally treason. They'd slap a rebel sticker on my forehead and chop it off. So that plan went into the brilliant but suicidal folder for now. On my way out, I bumped into my new friend, little soldier Yi Chi from the morning patrol. He bowed apologetically. Sir, about your canteen. Our commander took it. He really liked whatever was inside. My Coca-Cola canteen got confiscated by a military commander. Somewhere in a garrison tent, a grown man in armor is probably trying to figure out how to get more of that magical bubbly brown elixir. I gave Yi Chi 2 pounds of pork as a thank you. He tried to refuse. I threatened to badmouth him to his boss. He accepted immediately. Then he whistled and 20 soldiers appeared out of nowhere. Boys, see this man? He's our VIP. Anyone messes with his business here, you know what to do. Yes, SIR. I now have a private security detail. For the price of 2 pounds of pork. Best ROI of my life. Then Yi Chi looked at my belt and frowned. Sir, you don't even have a proper weapon. A man without a blade is a tiger without teeth. Come with me. He took me to their camp where an old blacksmith was melting down confiscated bandit weapons into farming tools, sickles, pots, iron plates. Smart hustle, honestly. But they'd kept a few high-value pieces. Yi Chi pointed me to a rack of weapons. I picked up a sword. Well, an old-style ring-pommel saber. Not standard military issue. Looked ancient. The scabbard was rotting and crusted with old blood and pond mud. But the blade. Oh mama. Master forged. 100-layer steel, at minimum. Perfect edge. Not a single chip. That one, I said. Yi Chi looked nervous. Sir, are you sure? That thing's weird. We didn't even take it from a bandit. We found it buried in pond mud. It's incredibly dull, won't sharpen no matter what we try. And it weighs 11 pounds. Normal swords weigh 3 or 4. Nobody can swing this thing. I picked it up with one hand and spun it around my head several times like a helicopter blade. Every soldier's jaw dropped. You were saying? They all had the same thought written on their faces. The government put this guy in a village? As a chief? Are they insane? I left 5 more pounds of pork and walked out with my new 11-pound mystery sword, a squad of loyal soldiers, and the reputation of a demigod. Final shopping list for the ride home. 10 pounds of rice, 5 pounds of pork, a crate of eggs, baby cabbages, MSG, fine salt, Sichuan peppercorns, star anise, and Jonchio green onions. I was going to cook my family a meal that would make their ancestors weep with jealousy. Total remaining cash, 20,000 coins. As long as I didn't try to buy another horse, I was basically a millionaire. Meanwhile, back on the road to our village, my big sister Shio was walking home with a group of village women and 1,500 coins from pawning mom's hairpin. And creeping behind them, an ox cart from Zhao village, the same jerks from this morning, offering rides for 2 coins each. Come on, ladies, hop on. We put down soft grass mats just for you. Some younger woman almost took the offer until an older lady hissed. Are you crazy? They'll drag you into the mountains and sell you to wild men. Xioi backed her up. Zhao village men harass us constantly. He'll pull you into a field and ruin you. The young woman ran back to the middle of the group so fast she nearly tripped. The Zhao village cart driver's face went dark. He'd been eyeing the prettier girls like items on a menu. And people wonder why this place is called Widow Village. It's not just because the men died. It's because the surviving women can't even walk home without being hunted. Don't worry, ladies. Your village chief just bought an 11-pound sword that won't sharpen but hits like a freight train. The tiger has its teeth back. So there I am, riding my brand new ox cart home like an ancient Chinese king on the world's slowest throne. Rocking back and forth, exhausted from the most productive day of my entire existence across 2 lifetimes. The only thing keeping me conscious is the internal energy humming in my chest like a little spiritual battery. I used some coins to buy a pack of red plum cigarettes from my system. Yeah, cigarettes. The system sells everything. I sat there puffing away, looking at my cart full of rice, pork, eggs, and vegetables, feeling like a man with a future. My mind started wandering. If only Xiaolon were here. She'd whip up a perfect braised pork belly. Then we'd crank up the AC, lie in bed, maybe watch some TV. She always loved my abs. And then my brain, like it does, started auto-playing a highlight reel. Xiaolon. Then the red-dressed lady from the village with the impressive assets. Then the twin sisters with their bouncing enthusiasm. I shook my head. Focus. You need to get the village fed first. Then the women will naturally worship you. That's the plan. Food first. Romance second. Empire third. Meanwhile, and I didn't know any of this until later, my big sister Xioi was having a terrible walk home. She was carrying 1,500 coins stuffed inside her shirt, walking with a group of village women. The coins were so heavy they were crushing her chest. Their neighbor Wang Auntie noticed the bulge and said, all helpful like, "Sweetie, your bra is too small." Xioi turned red as a tomato. She's shy. She's carrying money, not. Never mind. Wang Auntie, bless her scheming heart, was on a mission. She'd noticed me checking out girls during my village inspection earlier, and she smelled opportunity. Her daughter Bu was unmarried. If she could get Bu married to me, she'd be the village chief's mother-in-law. Power. So she was working Xioi like a lobbyist. Your brother looked at all the girls' chests today? He's clearly ready for a wife. Tell him about my Bu. Xioi, we can't even eat. Nobody's thinking about marriage. Wang Auntie. That's exactly when you should marry. Have babies. More babies means more workers. In 3 years you'll be rich. Xioi was internally screaming. More mouths when we can't feed the ones we have. This woman's economic theory was, breed your way to prosperity. Bold strategy. Historically catastrophic. But the real problem was creeping up behind them. That ox cart from Zhao village, the same scumbags from this morning, had been following the women's group the entire time, offering rides for 2 coins. The older women knew better. Get on that cart, and you end up sold to mountain savages, or worse. Everyone ignored the cart, but it didn't leave. Then it stopped. A man jumped off, holding an AXE. Son Widow, get out here. Every woman froze like a flock of baby chickens cornered by a wolf. This guy, Zhao the Rascal, was Zhao village's resident thug for hire. Too violent to be kicked out because they needed him for fights. A professional bully who survived by intimidating people weaker than him. He stomped through the group of terrified women, swinging his axe casually, until he spotted Xioi hiding behind Wang Auntie. His eyes locked onto her chest, onto the coins, though he was clearly enjoying the view for the wrong reasons. Xioi started crying. This animal was leering at her. Wang Auntie, credit where it's due, planted herself in front of Xioi like a human shield, partly out of genuine protectiveness, partly because she was mentally calculating. If I save the village chief's sister, that's definitely worth a marriage introduction. Then Zhao the Rascal revealed his actual play. He claimed Sun Widow owed him 20 coins from years ago when her husband was sick. With interest, it was now 2,000. A classic loan shark setup. Complete garbage. Sun Widow had never borrowed a single coin from him. You don't borrow money from neighboring villages when your own village chief lends freely. This was a kidnapping dressed up as debt collection. The village women circled around Sun Widow like a protective wall. But she walked out on her own, crying, furious. I never borrowed anything from you. You're lying. And then my little sister did something incredibly brave and incredibly stupid. Xioi stepped forward, shaking, tears still on her face. Voice cracking. Zhao the Rascal, get lost. My brother is coming and he'll beat you up. She'd heard from Wang Auntie that I'd thrashed Zhao village's chief this morning. She didn't know if it was true, but she was waving my name around like a borrowed sword. The rascal smiled. That ugly, predatory smile. Oh, little Xioi wants to play hero? How about you take out those coins you got from the pawn shop today and pay Sun Widow's debt? You and your brother are such good people, right? Pay up. Xioi's blood went cold. He knew about the pawn shop money. He'd been watching her. This whole thing, the fake debt, the axe, following them for miles, it was all a setup. And the target wasn't Sun Widow. It was the 1,500 coins stuffed inside my sister's shirt. And where was I? The big brother? The warrior? The tiger with his new 11-pound sword? About half a mile behind them, on an ox cart, going 3 miles per hour, smoking a cigarette and daydreaming about girls. I swear, if anything happens to my sister because this cow couldn't walk faster. So here's what Zhao the Rascal's brilliant plan was, and I have to give him credit, for a moron, It was almost clever. He'd spotted my sister Xioi walking to the pawn shop this morning, followed her like a creep, waited until she left, then asked the shopkeeper how much she got. 1,500 coins. His little rat brain went ding. But he couldn't just rob her directly. Too obvious. So he found a loan shark who specialized in forging documents, paid 200 coins to doctor a fake IOU, and pinned it on Sun Widow. The setup was simple. Sun Widow owes him money. My family has a policy that we handle all village women's problems. So if he pressures Sun Widow, my soft-hearted sister would pay up with her pawn shop money. 200 coins investment for a 1,500 coin return. Ancient Chinese fraud at its finest. He waited until they were in the middle of nowhere. No village nearby. No help coming. Then jumped off his cart waving an AXE and screaming about debts. He even gathered a crowd of travelers to watch, waving his forged IOU around like a trophy. Look everyone. Black ink on white paper. She has a thumbprint right here. Clear as day. The crowd was eating it up. Some felt bad for my sister. Some were just there for entertainment. Ancient China didn't have Netflix. Public humiliation was primetime TV. Your brother said he handles all problems for village women. Rascal was shouting at Xioi. He's not here. So you pay? Unless his word is just hot air, he was using my own reputation against my sister. Weaponizing my honor. This cockroach had done his homework. Xioi was cornered. She's the softest person alive. Sees someone crying, and her wallet opens automatically. She was about 2 seconds from handing over every coin in her shirt. And then, you. That's the sound an ox makes when you pull the reins. Everyone turned around. There I was, lying on my ox cart like a couch. Straw hat on. Cigarette in my mouth, trailing smoke. Sunset behind me, wind blowing my clothes like I was in a movie poster. Just vibing. I sat up, took off the hat, slowly looked at every single person. The women of my village reacted first. Sun Widow, who'd been having a full panic attack, went completely still. Then her eyes got wet. Not from crying anymore. From something else entirely. She was looking at me like I was a sunset over the ocean. I could practically hear romantic music playing in her head. Wang Andy's jaw dropped so hard I thought she dislocated it. She immediately looked at every other woman present with pure disgust, thinking, none of you deserve to even look at him. Only my daughter is worthy. Ma'am, your daughter and I have exchanged 0 words ever. But I appreciate the energy. I hopped off the cart and walked up to Xioi. Hey, big sis. You okay? She stared at me like she was seeing a completely different person. The old Yidu never spoke gently to anyone. He barked orders and grunted. But here I was, smiling softly, eyes warm, asking if she was all right. I'm fine, big brother. She could barely get the words out. The crowd was buzzing. Wait, isn't that the guy who beat up Commissioner Liu at the market today? The one who sells grain? I thought it was a different Yidu. That sick guy did all that. Now? Zhao the rascal. He saw me, and his body did that thing where your legs want to run, but your pride won't let them. He actually took a step backward before catching himself. His buddy Zhao C hissed from the cart. Rascal bro. If you chicken out now, you're done in our village. Plus you spent 200 coins on that fake IOU. The loan sharks will murder you if you can't pay them back. Trapped between fear of me and fear of loan sharks. Beautiful. He puffed himself up, gripped his axe tighter, and stomped forward pretending he wasn't terrified. Xioi quickly told me everything. Fake debt. Real axe. Targeting Sun Widow to squeeze money from her. I looked at this clown. Still holding an axe. Still standing in front of me. Still breathing. All 3 of those were privileges he was about to lose. Zhao the rascal, right? So you're saying Sister Sun owes you money? His eyes lit up. He opened his mouth to argue his case. Sure. I'll pay. But first, you owe me 20,000 coins for terrorizing my sister. His face went blank. When did I scare your sister? Let me paint the picture for you, genius. Broad daylight. Public road. Dozens of witnesses. You, a grown man with an AXE, corner a group of unarmed women and demand money. In what universe is that not robbery? That's not debt collection. That's a crime. I didn't. He couldn't form a sentence. The crowd started laughing. Not nervous laughter. Genuine, belly deep, pointing at you laughter. His face went red. He raised his axe and pointed it at me. I raised one eyebrow. Oh, so first you robbed my sister. Now you want to rob me too? The laughter got louder. Here's the thing about bullies. They run on fear. The moment people laugh instead of cower, the spell breaks. And right now, Zhao the rascal was standing in front of a man who'd beaten 20 armed thugs with a bamboo stick this morning, made a government official wet his pants, and rode home with a military escort. And all he had was a woodcutter's axe and a fake piece of paper. The math wasn't matching. "You think you can play games with me?" Zhao the rascal screamed, done pretending to be civilized. He started swinging his axe like a helicopter blade. "I don't care about your rules. Either pay up for Sun Widow, or I'm taking her." Cute speech. Really inspiring. Made me feel things. Specifically, it made me feel like hitting him in the balls. Which is exactly what I did. I didn't even draw my new sword. Just lunged forward and jabbed him right in the jewels with the scabbard. Aghh, the most beautiful sound in nature. Before he could process that his future children had just been cancelled, I kicked him in the face. He flew backward about 2 meters and hit the ground like a sack of broken dreams. Axe went clattering away. "You hit me," he screamed from the dirt. "Yeah, buddy, that's generally what happens when you wave an axe at my sister." Now here's the funny thing, my body was shaking. Not from weakness, not from exhaustion, from my new sword. Ever since I picked up that 11-pound beast, the original WIDOWS bloodlust had been cranking up to maximum. My hand was itching to draw the blade and do something very permanent. I was literally spending more energy not killing this man than I would have spent actually doing it. The rascal didn't understand any of this. He saw me trembling and thought, "He's weak. He's bluffing. One lucky shot." So he charged again. I stabbed him in the balls again. Same spot. Pinpoint accuracy. Aghh. His eyeballs nearly popped out. Blood vessels everywhere. He collapsed like a puppet with cut strings. But you know what? I was tired of doing all the work. I turned to my village women and said the greatest words a commander has ever spoken. "Ladies, throw." A hailstorm of dirt clods, rocks, and miscellaneous debris rained down on Zhao the rascal. He curled up in a ball, covering his head, squealing like a pig at a barbecue preview. Then Wang Auntie, this absolute unit of a woman, decided her hands were insufficient weapons. She used her entire body, launched herself into the air like a human cannonball. Slam. She landed butt first on his stomach. Blurg, he vomited everything. Yellow stuff, white stuff, green stuff. Colors I didn't know could come out of a human body. It was like a food rainbow, except horrifying. Xiaoyi dragged Wang Auntie off before she literally sat this man to death. Involuntary manslaughter via butt cheek was not on today's agenda. The rascal barely got to his knees when my quiet, shy, wouldn't hurt a fly's sister Xiaoyi punted him between the legs for a third time. Hat trick. 3 ball shots in one fight. A new dynasty record. He rolled away screaming, crawled onto his ox cart, and retreated at maximum cow speed, hollering over his shoulder, "I'll burn your whole village down." "Sure you will, buddy. Right after your testicles come back from whatever dimension I sent them to." Then came the aftermath, which was somehow worse than the fight. The village women swarmed me, hands everywhere, touching my arms, my chest, my face. "Are you okay? You were shaking. Don't overwork yourself." I closed my eyes and pretended to meditate. Just let it happen. Internal energy adjustment. Very spiritual. Definitely not enjoying this. Xiaoyi, bless that girl, physically removed the widows and older women from the pile. Quality control. Then Sun Widow dropped the nuclear bomb. "Village chief, you should just marry all of us." "I'm sorry, what?" She was dead serious. Standing there with tears still drying on her face, pitching her proposal like a business plan. "You're a good man. We can't repay you with money, so we repay you with us." The older women offer their daughters. "Everyone has your babies. In 15 years, every man in the village is your son. You'll be untouchable." I quietly asked my system, "Hey, do you have a fertility boost feature?" System, "No." Devastating. But honestly, her logic wasn't crazy. The reason every neighboring village bullied us was because we had one adult male. Me. If I could somehow populate the village with sons, nobody would dare touch us. Still, I am one man. There are limits. Everyone calm down. I can't marry all of you. I'm one person. Wang Auntie fired back instantly. "Who says you take care of us? We take care of you. You just sit there. We cook, we clean, we farm. You just exist and make babies. Yeah? You just need to sit there and eat. We do everything." The men from other villages watching this scene were dying. Not from sympathy, from jealousy. I could see it in their eyes. Pure, undiluted, "Why can't that be me?" rage. One guy was literally mouthing the words, "Brother, if your back can't handle it, tag me in." The women wouldn't stop. Younger ones, daughters of former court officials, still wearing their nice servant outfits from the rich houses they worked at, started clinging to my arms, rubbing against me like cats, not even slightly intimidated by my angry village chief face. My body went stiff as a board. "Enough!" I shouted. They paused. The original WIDOWS scary reputation still had some power. "When we get home, everyone stays home. No wandering. There are too many creeps targeting our village women lately. And Zhao the rascal might try revenge." Wang Auntie raised her hand like a student. "If we can't go outside and there's nothing to do, Chief, you should really just help us make babies." I was about to lose my mind when Xiui saved me for the second time today. "It's getting dark. Did anyone feed their chickens? Did your kids eat dinner? Strangers were poking around the village today. If they stole your laundry, you'll be walking around naked tomorrow." That got them moving. They all stampeded onto my ox cart, uninvited, and I was left driving home with an entire village's worth of women piled on my cart, my face a mask of pure suffering. Somewhere behind a tree on the roadside, a man in a scholar's robe was watching the whole thing, laughing so hard that snot was coming out of his nose. 17. Oh, 17. Even you have days like this. I don't know who that was, but I already hate him. So let me recap my first day in ancient China. I came back from the dead, beat up a village chief, got a magic shopping system, flipped crabs for profit, fought a market crime boss, accidentally became a military VIP, wrote national defense strategy, bought an ox cart, acquired a cursed sword, kicked a bandit in the balls 3 times, and got proposed to by an entire village of women. And somewhere back in my old world, Xiaolan is probably wondering why her boyfriend won't answer his phone. "I'm sorry, babe. I'm a little busy being the most aggressively loved man in Chinese history." So there I am, driving my ox cart home like a parade float, except instead of confetti, my float is covered in women. Every single village lady had piled onto my cart uninvited, just climbed right on, sat down on my rice bags, made themselves comfortable, started gossiping about how amazing I was today, throwing flirty looks at the back of my head. The prettier ones were doing that thing where they lean forward and, accidentally, make eye contact, hoping I'd turn around and fall madly in love. "Ladies, I'm driving. This is a vehicle. There are road safety concerns." My village women had class, though. Not a single one begged for food, even though they were sitting on top of 200 pounds of rice and their stomachs were eating themselves. They figured, village chief earned it. It's his respect, genuine respect. The outsiders, however, had zero shame. We hadn't gone far before a mob blocked my cart. Dozens of people from neighboring villages, just materializing out of the roadside like hungry ghosts. "Village chief Yi, how'd you get rich? That rice looks amazing. Share the secret. That ox, that horse, that cart. You didn't get all this from selling crabs, did you?" 40, 50 people, surrounding my cart, all wanting to know my get-rich-quick scheme. My village women went pale. This wasn't robbery, this was worse. This was networking. I couldn't fight 50 people. And these weren't bullies, just desperate, starving farmers who saw a guy with food and lost all social boundaries. Time for the silver tongue. "Relax, everyone. I caught some river crabs and freshwater stuff, sold it to rich folks in the county seat. City people pay crazy money for seafood. That's all. But the ox and cart, see that military brand on the horse? I'm ex-army. Went to the garrison, told my old commander I was broke, cried a little. He lent me money. Here's the loan document with the military seal. Anyone want to mortgage their farmland to the garrison for quick cash?" Dead silence. Mortgaging your land to the military? In a drought? That's like trading your only umbrella for a picture of sunshine. Nobody was that stupid. But they kept pushing about the seafood angle. "Where do you find crabs when all the rivers are dry?" I sighed and gave them just enough to chew on. Dried riverbeds still have stuff buried in the mud. Crabs, eels, whatever. If you want to sell, there's a guy named Wang Lao Wu at the temple market. He buys seafood. Boom. Crowd dispersed instantly. Everyone sprinting toward the nearest dried riverbed like I'd announced a gold rush. I just solved 2 problems at once. Gotten the mob off my back and created a supply chain for Lao Wu. Those people would dig up crabs and river creatures, sell them to Lao Wu, Lao would sell them to me. I'd flip them through my system. Everyone makes money. Capitalism. I just invented the supply chain in ancient China. Wang Annie scooted up behind me and whispered, "Chief, can we go dig crabs too?" I gave her my death glare. "Sit down. If this was easy money, why would I tell outsiders? I'd keep it for us." She wasn't even embarrassed. Turned right around and announced to the other women, "See? I told you the chief has a special plan for us. Everyone shut up and trust the process." I didn't. "That's not what you know what, fine. Let her think whatever she wants." Then, crack, I whipped the oxes but to speed up. The ox lurched forward and every woman on the cart fell over like dominoes. One young woman's clothes, already loose from weight loss, got caught under someone's behind. Ryup. Full wardrobe malfunction. White skin everywhere. She covered her eyes instead of her chest and screamed, "Village chief, you're going too fast." Wang Anti lunged over and covered the girl's front with both hands, shouting, "Why are you covering your eyes, you idiot? She's trying to seduce the village chief. Beat her, the shameless hussy." Flashing the chief in broad daylight, I stared straight ahead. Eyes forward, jaw clenched, internal energy focused on not turning around. This is my life now. One wardrobe malfunction per commute. When we finally creaked up to the village, my mother was waiting at the door looking worried. It was getting dark and neither I nor Xiaoyi had come home. She was not prepared for what happened next. 2 ox carts pulled up. Not mine, different carts. And sitting on them, fat and sweating, was Mayor Inayu. The same mayor who'd been riding involuntarily on horseback this morning after Zhao Zhu kidnapped him. The same mayor who'd refused to give our village a single grain of relief rice. The same mayor who'd once humiliated the original Yi Du so badly it nearly killed him. This man was now sitting outside our house with a huge smile, personally delivering 2 full carts of rice. "What a remarkable village chief you have," he announced loudly, slapping his own thigh like a car salesman. "Look how he never once came to ask me for help. Such self-reliance. Such dignity." My mother grabbed a burning stick from the fireplace. Xiao Ning grabbed a hoe. The little sisters grabbed bricks. They formed a battle line at the front door. The mayor nearly fell off his cart. Wait. I come in peace. I'm delivering relief grain." Mom didn't believe him. This man had tortured her son. Made him beg. Almost made him kneel. Why would he suddenly grow a conscience? But then the mayor snapped his fingers, and his men dragged out a man tied up in ropes with cloth stuffed in his mouth. It was the Zhao village chief. The same guy I'd beaten with a stick this morning. This criminal trampled Qinghe village crops. Punish him. The mayor's men beat the bound village chief right there in front of my mother. Whack, whack, whack. Like a live demonstration of what happens when you mess with us. Mom stood there holding her burning stick, mouth open, brain short-circuiting. The mayor left the rice, left the beaten village chief, said some flowery nonsense about how he'd fought so hard to get this grain approved, and then fled. His cart couldn't move fast enough. He practically whipped his own ox into a sprint. He was terrified. After this morning, after seeing military soldiers kidnap him for MY's sake, Mayor Neo had done the math and decided that groveling was cheaper than dying. Mom couldn't process any of it. The mayor who hated us, brought free food, beat up our enemy, and ran away scared? Xiao Ning, my wildest sister, hopped onto the grain bags, slashed them open with her hatchet to check if they were real, and announced, "Mom, it's real grain, not mixed with dirt or grass seeds. This is actually good stuff." Mom stared at the 2 carts of rice, then stared at the road where the mayor had vanished, then stared back at the rice. "Has that old pig finally grown a human heart?" "No, Mom. He hasn't grown a heart. He's just met your son's new friends. And somewhere between here and the garrison, those friends are probably still sharing my Coca-Cola and wondering what magical potion their mysterious commander drinks. So I pull up to the house expecting a hero's welcome. Ox cart loaded with food, a horse tied to the back, pockets full of cash, sisters about to get the meal of their lives. Instead, I walk into a crime scene. My 2 youngest sisters, 3 and 4, are kneeling in the courtyard like prisoners of war. Faces white, bodies trembling, not daring to breathe. What happened? Turns out, the mayor's grain delivery arrived while I was gone. 2 whole carts of quality rice. My mother inspected it and immediately knew. This wasn't government relief grain. This was the mayor's personal stash. The good stuff. She counted it and said, "This is exactly the amount the government was supposed to give us, but never did. So the mayor basically stole our relief grain, kept it for himself, then got so scared of me today that he replaced it with his own rice. Karma is delicious. But here's the problem. 3 and 4, starving, exhausted from weeding all day, saw all that beautiful rice and did what any hungry child would do. They grabbed handfuls and shoved it in their mouths. Mom went nuclear. She kicked 4 so hard the kid flew 3 meters. 3 meters. This tiny malnourished 10-year-old just launched across the courtyard like a human football. 3 froze mid-chew, rice falling from her fingers, too terrified to swallow. Xiaoning jumped in front of them. Mom, please. They're starving. They didn't mean it. Mom was not having it. She pointed at them like a drill sergeant delivering a court-martial. What is the family rule? Starve to death before touching someone else's rice. This grain is relief supplies for the whole village. It's not yours. If outsiders see the village chief's sisters stealing from the relief pile, where does that leave your brother's reputation? And furthermore, your brother and big sister have been working all day and haven't eaten. You want to eat first? Do you have an conscience? 3 and 4 screamed in unison. We're sorry, Mom. Please don't throw us away. Throw them away. That's not a figure of speech. In this era, when families can't afford to feed everyone, they literally sell their children or trade them to neighbors. These kids thought grabbing rice was a deportable offense. My mother, the woman who lied to the original Yidu about crops being wonderful so he wouldn't worry. The woman who sold her silver hairpin to buy him food. The woman who would die for her son. That same woman will punt her daughters across a courtyard for eating unauthorized rice. Her parenting philosophy is simple. Sons get unlimited love. Daughters get unlimited discipline. And everyone gets unlimited fear. I mean, I disagree with like 90% of this. But I also just got here and she could definitely still kick him so I'm picking my battles. Xiaoning, the tough middle sister who never backs down, dragged Mom to her resting chair and tried to smooth things over. Mom, relax. Big brother made the mayor deliver rice voluntarily. Maybe we'll never be short on food again. Let the little ones eat. Mom wasn't buying any of it. In fact, she was more worried than before. You don't understand, she said, staring at the grain piles with zero happiness. Your brother did something today that forced the mayor to bring us his own food. That's not good. That's dangerous. She laid it out cold. Before today, we were poor but safe. Nobody important cared about us. But now your brother kicked a hornet's nest. The mayor is smiling today, but what's he planning tomorrow? That man sends people to forced labor with a wave of his hand. They call him Mayor Yama, as in the king of hell. If your brother made an enemy of him, Xiaoning's excitement died instantly. She knew Mom was right. The mayor was famous for quietly destroying people, drafting their sons into the army, assigning them to slave labor, making them disappear. A man like that doesn't grovel forever. He plots. Mom and Xiaoning were sitting in terrified silence when I walked in. I saw 3 and 4 kneeling in the yard and immediately picked them both up. Big brother, are you selling US? 4 screamed. Please don't throw US away, 3 wailed. Snot and tears everywhere. All over my clothes. All over my face. These kids were genuinely convinced that being picked up meant being carried to the market and traded for grain. Why would I sell you? I just got here. Mom glared at me and stormed inside. Not even a welcome home. Just pure maternal fury radiating like a space heater. Xiaoning came sprinting out to inspect the ox cart and nearly lost her mind with excitement. New cart. A cow. A horse. She was bouncing around like it was Christmas morning. 3 and 4, between sobs, told me what happened. Between their garbled crying and Xiaoning's translations, I pieced it together. I pulled out a huge handful of dried fruit from my pocket. Here, split these among yourselves. Xiaoyi, go borrow some grass and wheat bran from Annie Lou's place and feed the animals. Xiaoning stared at the fruit like I'd handed her diamonds. All of this? For US? Yes. Eat. Eat. Mom came storming back out of the house. Leg already cocked for another kick. 3 and 4 hit the ground like trained soldiers. Flat. Face down. Zero movement. These kids have military-grade reflexes from years of dodging Mom's feet. Who said you could eat? It's almost dark. No eating before bed. The fruit was confiscated. Xiaoning watched her dried fruit disappear into Mom's sleeve with the saddest puppy eyes I've ever seen. She looked at me and shrugged helplessly. I whispered, keep boiling that water. I'll go talk to Mom. Xiaoning whispered back in a voice so quiet bacteria couldn't hear it. Be careful. Mom's mood is awful today, and if it goes wrong, she'll take it out on us. What's the big deal? The mayor brought grain. That's good. It's not just the grain, Xiaoning continued. While you and Big Sister were out, the marriage bureau came. The what? The government matchmaking office. They said Big Sister is 17, and if she doesn't get married soon, they'll either force assign her a husband or charge us extra taxes. Oh great. So on top of drought, famine, bandits, corrupt officials, marketplace crime lords, and neighboring villages trying to kidnap our women, now the government wants to drag my sister to the altar. Mom's been stressed all day about it, Xiaoning added. I straightened up. Whatever. Problems come, we solve them. Soldiers block, water flows. Go feed the animals. I walked toward Mom's room, mentally preparing for the most dangerous encounter of the day. Not the 20 thugs at the market. Not the crossbow on the roof. Not the axe-wielding rascal. My mother, who can kick a child 3 meters and confiscate candy faster than I can blink. God help me. I walked into Mom's room and found her performing surgery on my bag of dried fruit. She'd wrapped it in oiled paper, tied it with rope, and hung it from the ceiling beam like she was storing nuclear launch codes. She handed me exactly 2 pieces. 2. Famine's on. Girls don't need treats. You eat these. Save the rest. If the grain runs out, this fruit is the difference between life and death. My mother runs this household like a wartime rationing bureau. Everything is allocated. Everything is strategic. And the strategy is, feed the sun. Everyone else can photosynthesize. Mom, they're your daughters too. They came out of your body. Why can I eat, but they can't? I reached up and untied the fruit from the beam. Her hand went up to slap me, hovered in the air for a moment, then came back down. She can't hit me. I'm the golden boy, the one male heir. Her hand physically refuses to make contact, but she grabbed the fruit bag and held on like a tug-of-war champion. 1 or 2 pieces is enough. If they eat too much, it'll wake up their appetite and they'll be hungrier. This woman's logic. Don't feed hungry children because feeding them will make them realize they're hungry. Incredible reasoning. Absolutely bulletproof if you ignore everything about how humans work. Then Mom hit me with the speech. The speech. The one she'd been saving up. You are the only man in this family. The only man in this village. Every storm, every threat, every problem, it's your shoulders. If we each skip 1 meal, that's 5 extra meals for you. You eat, you get strong, you earn money, your sisters marry well. That's the system. That's how we survive. She wasn't done. I know you were giving up before. I saw it. You got sicker every day because you lost the will to live. You were going to die and leave us here. But you're the eldest son. Your father's words. Eldest brother is father. Those girls aren't married yet. You don't get to die. And then my mom. This iron woman who kicks children across courtyards and rations fruit like gold bars, started crying. Silently. Facing the wall. Shoulders shaking. Trying not to let anyone hear. My insides twisted into a knot. She wasn't wrong. The original Yidu had given up. The weight of supporting an entire village of women with 0 resources, getting humiliated by every official he begged for help. Watching his sisters starve, it broke him. He didn't die of illness. He died of despair. And here was Mom, holding the family together with nothing but pure willpower and violence. Starving herself so I could eat. Beating her daughters so they'd learn discipline. Crying alone so nobody would see weakness. In my old life, my biggest problem was whether Xiaolon would make braised pork or steamed fish for dinner. I am not equipped for this level of emotional warfare. Mom, stop crying. Let me talk. She wouldn't turn around. Just sat on the bed wiping tears. Then Xiaoning told me about the marriage bureau. Apparently, while I was out conquering the market, government matchmakers showed up at our house. Big sister Xiaoyi is 17. Into Qian, that's practically expired. If she doesn't get married soon, either the government assigns her a random husband or we pay penalty taxes. Great. Another mountain. This family collects problems like other families collect furniture. Time to change the subject. I reached into my sleeve and pulled out an egg. Mom's eyes locked onto it like a heat-seeking missile. Then I pulled out another. And another. And another. 8 big, beautiful, perfectly round boiled eggs. System-bought supermarket quality. Each one bigger and shinier than anything this world had ever produced. Mom's first instinct. was to grab a basket from the ceiling and store them. Mom, they're boiled. They'll rot if you save them. Then sell them. Buy cheap grain. Feed the whole family for days. I peeled 2 eggs and literally shoved them into her mouth. She tried to resist. I pushed harder. She chewed reluctantly, looking at me like I'd committed a war crime against fiscal responsibility. Good, right? Behind the door, 3 little heads were stacked vertically like a totem pole. Xiaoning on top, 3 in the middle, 4 at the bottom. All watching Mom eat eggs. All drooling so hard they could have filled a bucket. Is that an EGG? 3 whispered. I want one too, 4 whimpered, licking her own fingers for comfort. Xiaoning hissed, shut up. Big brother is negotiating on our behalf. Don't blow it. Second sister, talk slower. Your spit is hitting my face. You dare sass me? Want a beating? While they bickered, they missed the entire conversation. All they saw was Mom and me walking out together. And, miracle of miracles, Mom was almost smiling. I handed each sister 1 egg. You're all hungry. Eat. They froze. The original Yidu never gave them food directly. Everything went through Mom first. Mom ate. Then they fought over crumbs. The idea of receiving their own egg from their brother's hand was so alien they couldn't process it. They didn't even peel them, just crammed whole eggs, shell and all, into their mouths like chipmunks storing acorns. I slapped each one on the butt. Peel it first, you animals. Xiaoning dodged. 3 and 4 took the hits, didn't even flinch, kept chewing shell. Mom shook her head, part exasperation, part guilt for kicking for earlier. She waved it off. Then I said the words that changed the universe inside this household. Xiaoning, make dinner. 2 bowls of rice porridge per person. And throw half a pound of meat in the pot. Silence. Absolute. Nuclear. Silence. This family ate 1 meal a day. 1 bowl of wheat and husk paste. And now I was ordering meat porridge? At night. With white rice. Xiaoning's brain needed a full reboot. Big brother. We're eating dinner? Like. A second meal? Today? Yes. Move it. She grabbed the meat and sprinted to the kitchen before I could change my mind. 15 pounds of pork, 1 hand, full speed. This girl has priorities. Big sister Xiaoyi came back from feeding the animals and nearly had a stroke. We can't be this extravagant. It's not even a holiday. Xiaoning was already chopping meat with a hatchet at supernatural speed. Chop, chop, chop. Big brother said it. I'm doing it. You want to argue? Argue with him. 3 and 4 were at the stove, stoking the fire with a passion they'd never shown for anything. 4. Blow harder. 3. More wood. These kids who were kneeling in punishment 20 minutes ago were now operating that kitchen like a Formula 1 pit crew. Xiaoyi tried to stop them. Couldn't catch Xiaoning. Turned to bully 3 and 4 instead. They looked at me with desperate puppy eyes. Half a pound of meat. Final answer. We're eating tonight. Xiaoyi's heart was breaking from the waist, but she couldn't override my authority. She rolled up her sleeves and took over cooking because if her family was going to commit this sin, at least the food would be made properly. Then Xiaoning opened the rice bag to scoop out some grains, and her face went completely white. The rice. My system rice. Round, glistening, pearly white grains that looked like they'd been polished by angels. She'd never seen rice this perfect in her life. Nobody in this village had. Nobody in this province had. She looked at me with an expression that said, Big brother, did you rob the Dragon King's palace? No, little sister. I just have Amazon Prime from the future. But you don't need to know that. You just need to eat. Mom stood in front of the ox cart staring at the mountain of supplies like I'd just backed up a getaway vehicle. Son, did you rob the government treasury? Big sister Xiaoyi jumped to my defense from the kitchen. No, Mom. People on the road were talking about it. Big brother was doing business at the temple market. Making real money. Everyone stared at me like I'd grown a second head. The original Yidu wouldn't even make eye contact with strangers. Now I'm apparently a merchant prince. It's true. I sold seafood to rich people. Crabs, river stuff. City nobles pay insane money for fresh catch during a drought. Mom considered this, then noticed the spices. The fine salt. The seasonings. Her finger went straight into my forehead like a woodpecker drilling for answers. Wasteful boy. What are these luxury items? Save your money. Time for tactical maneuvering. I put on my most innocent face and said, Mom, you know me. I squeeze every coin. But Xiaoning begged me before I left. Big brother, If you make money, buy this, buy that. She took such good care of me when I was sick. How could I refuse? From the kitchen, Xiaoning's head popped up like a startled prairie dog. Her mouth formed a perfect O of betrayal. Mom's hand went to my sword hilt. She yanked it off my belt and charged toward Xiaoning like a samurai housewife. Wait, she's still young. Just use a stick, I yelled, desperately holding her back while winking furiously at Xiaoning. Xiaoning had already launched herself onto the roof in approximately 0.3 seconds. Then she paused, thought about it, remembered the white rice, the eggs, the fruit, the fact that Big Brother chose her first for everything today. She jumped back down. Mother, it was all my fault. I corrupted Big Brother. Punish me, this girl. Volunteering for a beating to protect my cover story. Loyalty. Once things settled down, I brought out the big guns. I carried an entire bucket of copper coins into the bedroom and set it on the table in front of Mom and Xiaoyi. I plunged my hand in. Clink, clink, clink. The most beautiful sound in any century. Both women stopped breathing. Old army brothers owed me favors. I lied smoothly. They sent money as thanks. Mom's hand went into the bucket. Then Xiaoyi, yes. Both of them standing there, running coins through their fingers over and over, faces frozen in shock. Big Brother, Xiaoyi whispered, your army friends are this generous? This is landlord money. Landlord money? This is pocket change. There's more where this came from. Then I laid out my business plan. No more free handouts to villagers. From now on, anyone who needs money comes to work for us. 50 coins a day. Real work, real pay. It teaches them independence. As the saying goes, give a man a fish and he eats for a day. Teach a man a donkey, and he rides forever. Close enough. Mom's response to my employment reform initiative? She took off her SHOE and beat me across the head with it. Whack, 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 whack. You want to pay them? You're the village chief. You could sleep with every woman in the village and they'd thank you for the honor. And you want to give them wages? 15 shoe strikes to the skull before she ran out of steam. I didn't dodge a single one. Dodging makes mothers angrier. This is universal across all timelines. Once she calmed down, I explained the logic properly. She eventually agreed. Paying people to work beats giving handouts. Even her Wolfpack survival philosophy could accept that. Meanwhile, outside, the three little sisters were having the time of their lives. They huddled together by the fire, giggling uncontrollably, high on eggs and the promise of meat porridge. For asked Xiaoning, second sister, didn't you always say you'd flip Big Brother over your shoulder when you got strong enough? How come now you're his biggest fan? Xiaoning kicked her. I'm not his fan. I'm studying him, learning from him, aspiring to be like him. 3 and 4 rolled their eyes so hard they nearly went blind. Xiaoning kicked them both again. Then Xiaoning hatched a scheme. 3, you've been wanting new pants forever, right? Big Brother has money now. Ask him. 3 nearly wet her current pants in terror. Ask Big Brother for money? Even if he says yes, Mom would murder me, for chimed in. Yeah, if Mom sees new pants, that's an automatic beating. Xiaoning, so? You want new pants and no beating? Pick one. That's life. For nodded solemnly. Second sister speaks wisdom. 3 added more wood to the fire with philosophical calm. New pants aren't important. I mainly just want Mom to loosen up the skin on my behind. It's getting tight from all the kicking. These children have developed comedy as a survival mechanism. I love them. Then 4 came sprinting over to me, literally running past 3, who tripped and ate dirt. 0 sisterly concern. 4 climbed into my arms and said, Big Brother, please buy 3 a new outfit. Her clothes have too many holes to patch. Why didn't 3 come tell me herself? 4 blinked her enormous innocent eyes. If I ask for her, then when Mom finds out, I take the beating instead. 3 stays safe. You're not afraid of getting hit. Nope. Plus, 3's old clothes can be made smaller and given to me. So 1 beating gets us both new clothes. Very efficient. My throat tightened. My eyes stung. This tiny girl, 10 years old, looks 5, malnourished, wearing rags. Just calculated the optimal beating to clothing ratio like a tiny, adorable economist. 3 limped over nervously. I asked how much kids' clothes cost. She counted on her fingers for way too long. 500 coins for normal kids. But I'm smaller than normal kids, so maybe 400. 400 coins for a child's outfit? In my system, vintage school uniforms cost 20 coins. I just discovered a new business opportunity. But selling modern clothes in ancient China requires explanation. Instead, I opened my system, found a Hanfu shop, and bought 2 kid-sized outfits into Qian style. Close your eyes. Magic trick. They squeezed their eyes shut. Open. 2 brand new, beautiful little outfits materialized in my hands. Their faces. Oh God, their faces. Like Christmas and birthdays and every good thing compressed into one moment. Xiaoning came charging over. Where's mine? Go back to work. I didn't buy yours. She stopped dead. I braced for tantrum. Instead, she turned around and started teaching 3 and 4 how to put on their new clothes, casually adding instructions like, if you get into a fight, come home and change into old clothes first. Don't waste good fabric on combat. Practical. Always practical. I turned away, can't watch little sisters change, and saw Mom and Xiaoyi whispering to each other by the ox cart. For the first time today, Mom was actually smiling. Not a full smile. Just the ghost of one. But it was there. Money really is something. You don't have to love it, but without it, you can't even buy your family a reason to smile. That's the cruelest truth in any world. Finally, night fell and we sat down to eat. Nothing fancy. A big pot of rice porridge with pork shreds, leftover eggs, a plate of pickled vegetables. Back in my old life, I would have sent this back at a restaurant. I barely had any appetite. My modern brain kept thinking, this needs red dates, rock sugar, maybe some dried goji berries. This is basically hospital food. But my family? They ate like they'd been invited to heaven's banquet. 3 and 4, who hadn't eaten dinner in weeks, blew gently on their spoons, waited for the porridge to cool just enough, took one tiny sip, then closed their eyes. Not gulping, not wolfing it down, savoring. Each spoonful held in the mouth like it might be the last good thing they ever taste. Eyes closed, floating, gone to some happy place where sisters have pants and brothers buy eggs and mothers don't kick you across the yard. I watched them eat and thought, in my old life, I was happy with no money. Delivery guy, security guard, didn't care. Always smiling. But here, without money, I can't even give my little sister a pair of pants without someone getting beaten for it. The world is different when you're responsible for people who love you this much. This was the best meal this family had eaten since, possibly ever. Not because the food was amazing, it was literally just rice porridge with pork shreds. But for the first time, there was enough. Nobody had to count their spoonfuls. Nobody had to watch someone else eat and calculate if there'd be any left. When Mom put down her chopsticks, every sister stopped eating simultaneously, like trained soldiers, Pavlov's daughters. But each face told a different story. Xiaoyi, calm, dignified. I'm full, and that's that. Xiaoning, pouting, clearly not full, but obedient. 3 and 4. The second Mom looked away. Those sneaky little rascals picked their bowls back up and got in 2 more licks before anyone noticed. Why'd you stop? There's porridge left. It'll go bad by tomorrow. I pointed at the pot. Mom, go bad? We'll reheat it tomorrow. That's tomorrow's meal sorted. Woman, we have rice. We have pork. I have 20,000 coins and a magic shopping system. We are not rationing leftover porridge across 2 days. I grabbed every sister's bowl, filled them to the brim, and slammed them back down. Eat until you're full. That's an order. They all looked at Mom like hostages checking with their kidnapper. Mom sighed, stood up. Fine, eat. But if any of you slack off tomorrow, I'll skin you alive. Long live Mother. Long live Big Brother, for screamed, and face planted into her bowl. Then I noticed Xiaoyi wasn't eating. Face pale, sitting stiffly, watching others eat with zero appetite. Years of living with a girlfriend taught me to recognize exactly what was happening. I went outside, bought brown sugar from my system, boiled it into her porridge, and set it in front of her. You're on your period, right? Drink this. The sugar helps with cramps. Her face went crimson. In ancient China, a brother casually diagnosing menstrual cycles is apparently nuclear-level embarrassing. She pushed the bowl away. I'm the big sister. I can't have special treatment. You do the most work. You get special food. Drink it. Xiaoning saw the brown sugar porridge and immediately grabbed her own stomach, performing the most dramatic death scene since Shakespeare. Big Brother. Oh no. I'm having my period too. The blood. It won't stop. I'm dying. Only brown sugar porridge can save me now. You're basically a dude. Since when do you get periods? Big Brother. You're becoming really annoying as village chief of Widow Village. She grumpily poured some of her own porridge into 3 and 4's bowls, then glared at them. Eat up. When you're big enough, we overthrow Big Brother's tyrannical regime together. Yes, ma'am. They agreed enthusiastically, mouths never stopping. They looked like happy little piglets. Round cheeks puffing, eyes half closed. Zero worries. Just pure, concentrated joy in rice form. I leaned back in my chair feeling pretty good about myself. Reached for a cigarette, empty. No phone either. Man, the entertainment options in ancient China are rough. Then Xiaoyi started crying. Into her porridge. Just. Tears raining down into the bowl. 3 and 4 saw big sister crying and immediately started crying too. Chain reaction. Emotional dominoes. Xiao Ning and I exchanged a look of complete bewilderment. Big sis, Big Brother is alive. Why are you crying again? Xiaoyi sobbed. I haven't felt my stomach this full in so long. I'm just so happy. She's crying because she ate enough food. That's what this world has come to. A full belly is so rare it makes people weep. Stick with me, kid. Your stomach will be full every day. Then 3 sniffled. For just told me. Before Dad died. His last wish was to eat a bowl of porridge with meat in it. He never got it. The room went silent. Their father, the previous head of this family, died with one final dream, a bowl of meat porridge. And he never tasted it. And here we were, eating exactly that. My eyes burned. I rubbed their heads. Dad's watching from up there. Be happy so he can be happy too. They nodded through their tears, then started crying harder. Because of course they did. I had to evacuate before this turned into a 5-person sob festival. Grabbed my dishes, checked on Mom. She was sewing quietly in her room, content, and slipped outside. Immediately something felt wrong. Movement in the bushes near the door. My hand shot into the woodpile and grabbed something incredibly soft. Warm, smooth, yielding. My thumb instinctively rolled across it, and HH. Village chief, please. A girl burst out of the woodpile. One of the Wong twins, couldn't tell which one in the dark. Hair full of burrs, face redder than a sunset, body still trembling from what my hand just did. She stood there, clutching her collar, breathing hard, eyes wide. In her mind, she was probably calculating whether what just happened meant she was married now. I wanted to dig a hole with my toes and bury myself in it. Then, rustling, from another bush, a swarm of children exploded out like a clown car. Wong's sister is a bad guy. She's trying to steal the village chief, the ringleader. A 4-year-old boy built like a tiny dictator, pointed at her accusingly. Kid, shut your mouth. I'm telling my mom. She needs to hurry up and marry you. Otherwise, I'll need a new mom. Why would your mom need to marry me? The boy looked at me like I was stupid. Because you're Ningran's daddy. If she's not your wife, how can she be Ningran's mommy? Then he turned to the Wong twin with devastating 4-year-old savagery. And don't think just because your chest looks like but that you're special. My mom's chest looks like her back. So there, he sprinted away into the darkness before I could catch him. I stood there. The Wong twin stood there. Both of us processing what a preschooler just said about comparative breast anatomy. It's late, I managed. Go home. Come get grain tomorrow. She kissed me on the cheek. Fast, like a hummingbird stealing nectar, and bolted. I touched my face. Still warm. On the wall above me, Xiao Ning was crouching like a gargoyle, looking down at her own flat chest with deep philosophical concern. Is that woman going to be my sister-in-law? She muttered. I ignored her and sat down to work. Using system materials, I started building a homemade shotgun. Steel pipe, basic mechanics. Thanks to a certain Japanese craftsman, whose legendary work I'd studied recreationally in my past life. The village needed weapons for defense, and I was going to provide. Throughout the evening, various village women kept dropping by, some to flirt, some to ask about grain distribution, some for reasons they clearly hadn't thought through yet. Eventually, Xiao Ning physically dragged me inside. Bed. Now, my bed was already made by Xiaoyi. Perfect hospital corners, smooth straw mattress, blankets folded with the precision of someone who'd make an excellent wife for someone very lucky someday. Then 3 and 4 appeared carrying a basin of hot water and a tiny stool. Big brother, we're here to wash your feet. Before I could protest, each sister grabbed one foot and plunged them into the water. I'm not the emperor. You don't need to. Xiao Ning materialized behind me with scissors, pinned my shoulders down, and started trimming my hair. Big brother, you're better than the emperor. He has paperwork. You have 600 women. Xiaoning, if you don't know how to talk, you can be quiet. Say one more word, and these scissors go up your nose. Fine. I surrendered to the pampering. 3. Washing my left foot. For washing my right. Xiaoning giving me a haircut that might leave me looking like a hedge. After they finished with me, they grabbed fresh water and ran to serve Mom. Then, finally, the 4 sisters each got their own basin and sat there, soaking their feet, eyes closed, pure bliss. For started humming a little tune. Just happy, full belly, clean feet, new clothes, a brother who gives eggs. Simple happiness. The kind money can't buy. Except it literally can, because I bought the rice, the pork, the eggs, the clothes, and the hot water fuel with money. So actually money bought all of this happiness, and I should never forget that. I lay down, started thinking about plans. The village, the business, the crabs, the irrigation canal proposal, the military alliance. Then my thoughts drifted. 36 wives, 72 concubines. That's technically allowed in this dynasty. The math is interesting. I was out, dead asleep, gone. In my dream, I was back in Japan with an AK-47, doing things to a public restroom that I cannot legally describe. Then I flew back to China, bought a mansion, brought all the village women home, started a movie studio, had 300 children, couldn't remember any of their names. Boom. An explosion outside. My hand found the knife under my pillow before my eyes even opened. Day 2 in ancient China is starting with a bang. Literally. I woke up to an explosion. Hand went straight under the pillow. Grabbed my knife. Battle stance. Heart pounding. Ready to kill. I peeked through the door crack and it was Mom beating Xiaoning with a burning stick. At 6 in the morning. On a Tuesday. Xiaoning was clutching a white cat like it was the Holy Grail, doing parkour around the kitchen, ground to countertop to ceiling beam in about 2 seconds flat. Mom was jabbing a smoldering fireplace poker at her, but from below. Xiaoning's clothes were literally smoking, but she would not let go of that cat. You stole family grain to feed an animal. I'll kill you. Mom was whispering her death threats, which was somehow more terrifying than yelling. Xiaoyi was trying to hold her back and failing. 3 and 4 had come in from the fields soaking wet with baskets of wild vegetables, saw the chaos, and immediately backed out the door. Not today. Nope. We'll be outside. Xiaoning spotted my door crack. Big brother save me. I seriously considered going back to bed. Mom hissed, quiet. Your brother was up half the night working. You want to kill him with exhaustion? Xiaoning's eyes narrowed. I could see the calculation happening in real time. She had leverage now. Mom, if you hit me one more time, I'm waking him up. And you'll be the one who stressed out your precious baby boy. Checkmate. Mom froze. Hostage negotiation, ancient Chinese style. Then Xiaoyi, being the most caring sister alive, ruined everything. Big brother hasn't woken up from all this noise. What if something's wrong? Stampede. Every female in the house charged my bedroom door. I dove under the blankets. Because here's the thing. I'd slept naked last night, and certain parts of my body were doing their enthusiastic morning routine. Mom burst in, checked my breathing, saw my face was healthy, and relaxed. She blocked the sisters at the door with one arm and tucked my blankets tighter around me like I was 5 years old. Xiaoning, banned from the door, ran outside to the window and pressed her face against it like a kid at a pet store. Just staring at me sleep. Big brother got more handsome, she muttered to herself. Then Mom appeared silently behind her, slammed the window down on Xiaoning's neck, pinning her like a medieval stock, and shoved something into her open mouth. Xiaoning gagged. Looked down. Black. Fuzzy. Stinking. My sock. Mom had weaponized my dirty sock as a gag. She twisted Xiaoning's shoulder with one hand while whispering, "Feed that cat one more time, and I'll end you." Then she shoved Xiaoning out the window like taking out trash. Xiaoning landed butt first on the ground, looked at the ungrateful white cat sitting on the wall, and muttered, "You don't understand. You're my lucky cat." The cat looked at her, and, "I swear this happened," rolled its eyes. I fell back asleep. Best decision of day 2. When I finally woke up properly, Mom had already distributed the relief grain to every family in the village. Efficient woman. Terrifying, but efficient. I stumbled around looking for my socks. "Mom, where are my foot wraps?" Xiaoyi pointed at the wall where 2 crusty sock wraps were flapping in the breeze. They were basically fossilized, Big Brother. I washed them. 3 and 4 appeared with a wash basin and towel. Big Brother. Wash time. While they held the basin, I slipped 2 chocolate bars from my system into their tiny hands. Their eyes went huge. I glared at them before they could scream. Breakfast was beautiful. Xiaoyi had turned wild vegetables into 2 plates of cold dishes with nothing but skill and determination. Rice porridge. Eggs. Simple but perfect. We were halfway through eating when a girl appeared at the gate. Patched clothes, but really pretty face. My eyeballs may have malfunctioned briefly. Is this village chief Ye's home? Xiao Ning launched across the yard, grabbed the girl, dragged her inside, and started inspecting her like a horse at auction. Arms too thin, legs too skinny. Not qualified for Big Brother. Mom was already in matchmaker mode, beaming. I'm Yidu's mother. Which village are you from, dear? I was mentally screaming. Does the original Yidu have secret girlfriends I don't know about? I'm Wang Lao Wu's wife. Every woman's enthusiasm deflated like a punctured balloon. Xiaoning dropped her arm. Mom's smile vanished. 3 and 4 whispered from the corner. She's not here to marry Big Brother? Then why is she here so early? 4 added. I want 10 sisters-in-law to take care of. The more the better. These children have priorities. Lao Wu's wife, Lin Chi-mei, daughter of a former imperial censor, sentenced to marry a poor farmer, had come to help with housework as thanks for what I did yesterday. Mom dragged her into the bedroom for interrogation. Not about me. About the money. Mom still didn't fully trust my old army buddy Senate story. She needed independent verification from a stranger's wife. My own mother trusts random visitors more than her son. Great. Very affirming. While Mom conducted her intelligence operation, I disappeared into the side room and got to work on my real project. See, last night while everyone slept, I'd been building something special. Using system materials, steel pipe, a lighter's electric arc igniter, and cheap steel pellets, I was constructing humanity's first ancient Chinese shotgun. Took me half the day to get it right. Testing in the backyard, I loaded up the steel balls, aimed at a bucket of sand, and pressed the trigger. Boom. The bucket exploded into Swiss cheese. Dozens of tiny holes. Sand pouring out like an hourglass. The sisters came running out of the house in panic. Power is excellent. Range needs work. I kept tweaking, testing, adjusting. By noon, I had a functional weapon that could turn any bandit into a very surprised cullender from a respectable distance. Time to cause some problems. When I finally emerged from my workshop, Lao Wu's wife had left, but the yard was full of crabs. What happened? 3 explained. Wang Lao Wu came, picked up his wife, and dropped off all these crabs. He said too many people are catching crabs now, and he can't handle the volume alone. Mom didn't let them bother you since you were busy, Xiaoning added. He only charged 8 coins per pound instead of 10. Said he's just working for you, doesn't need profit. This man. This beautiful, loyal, terrified marshmallow of a man. I buy him pork one time, and he's ready to work for free. Xiaoyi chimed in. His wife was incredible, by the way. The moment she walked in, she started cleaning, cooking, organizing. I couldn't even keep up. She wanted to work. Then I looked at Mom, because hiring outside help costs money and Mom has strong feelings about spending. Mom read my mind. Don't look at me like that. You want to build something big, you need helpers. The village is all women, useless for heavy work. You need men from outside. I understand. Besides, she added, that girl is a hard worker. She can come whenever she wants. Xiaoyi filled in the backstory. Lin Chi-mei was a former official's daughter, forced married to Lao Wu from a widow village. Father-in-law bedridden. Mother-in-law blind. Kids sick and starving. The whole family survived on Lao Wu's meager earnings, and Lao Wu was too gentle to fight for better pay. Mom and Xiaoyi had extracted this woman's entire family history, 3 generations deep, in one morning. You two are terrifying, I said. The Imperial Secret Police could learn from you. Mom didn't even blink. Just went back to mending clothes. Day 2 status report. 1 shotgun built, 1 lucky cat saved from execution, 1 sock weaponized, 2 chocolates smuggled, 1 interrogation conducted, and approximately 50 crabs acquired. The tiger is locked and loaded. Literally. Mom snorted at me when I said she and Xiaoyi were good interrogators. If I hadn't been blind enough to marry your father, I'd still be a government official's wife, noted. Mom has a backstory. Filing that for later. She saw me gearing up to leave and immediately went into military mom mode. started making guacamole, these enormous rock-hard flatbread discs that soldiers carry on campaign. Think of a frisbee made of bread that could stop a bullet. Literally, you string two together, hang them front and back on your chest, and they work better than actual armor. Regular crossbow bolts can't even penetrate them. Back in the army, we used to pluck enemy arrows out of our chest bread and shoot them back. I'm half convinced Zhuge Liang got his borrowing arrows with straw boats idea from watching soldiers do this with pancakes. Mom watched me strap on the bread armor and started crying. Reminded her of sending 13-year-old me off to war. Dad was too sick to serve, so the army took his kid instead. 5 years. Not a single letter home. Then she noticed me stuffing handfuls of black steel balls into my pouches, and her mother sense tingled. Son, what are those for? You don't need those for selling crabs. I told her the truth. Crabs are temporary. Rivers are drying up. The supply won't last. I needed a new income stream. Something that explained having money without people asking where it came from. I was going bounty hunting. Mom's face went white. See, the region was crawling with wanted criminals. Bandits, thieves, enemy spies. The government had dozens of bounty posters plastered on every wall. To normal people, those posters were wallpaper. To me, they were a menu. In this life, the original Yidu was a military scout, intelligence operative, and eventually chief of security for an entire army. Finding hidden people was literally his job. In my previous life, I was a security guard who could spot a food delivery scammer, a pyramid scheme recruiter, or a wanted fugitive from across a parking lot. 2 lifetimes of spotting sketchy people experience combined. Plus, I had the shotgun. Speaking of which, Xiaoning saw me carrying my 2 steel pipes and asked what they were. This is the Mountain Model 1, a firearm I invented. To demonstrate, I grabbed a rock, set it up in the backyard, aimed, and pulled the trigger. Boom. The rock exploded into gravel. Steel pellets shredded it like confetti. Xiaoning's face went white for exactly 1 second, then lit up like fireworks. Big brother, can I have one? I'll destroy Zhao Village. Mom shut her down instantly. Absolutely not. If someone takes it from you and uses it against your brother, then what? I'll make you a small one later, I promised. For self-defense, I strapped on my bread armor, slung my Mountain Model 1 across my back, belted my 11-pound mystery sword to my waist, climbed onto my military horse, and rode out of the village looking like an ancient Chinese Terminator. The women barely caught a glimpse before I was gone. Sorry, ladies. The tiger has business. First stop, my childhood friend Sukan's village. Sukan was a certified genius. Actual scholar. Passed the imperial exams. Had a bright future until he said something politically stupid, got demoted, and was dumped in the middle of nowhere to be village chief of a beggar village. Yeah, my village is all widows. His village is all beggars. We're like a buddy comedy nobody asked for. His village had a special history. It was the hometown of one of the rebel kings who fought against the current dynasty. After losing, the entire village was forcibly relocated here as punishment. Too many people, not enough land. Everyone became professional beggars. But Sukan, this insane scholar, turned begging into a corporation. He divided the village into districts, assigned territories, gave the elderly and children the begging routes, better sympathy factor, put the adult men on, territory expansion, and created a communist redistribution system for all collected alms. Nobody in his village had starved, and nobody from neighboring villages dared mess with them, because one whistle from Sukan and 300 beggars with sticks would come pouring out like angry ants. Old Y. He ran up to my horse grinning. Heard that rat Mayor Nyo sent your village grain. How'd you manage that? I'm going bounty hunting. Got any intel? You? Bounty hunting, he laughed. Those bandits are serious criminals. Ask me again at sunset. He whistled for his intelligence chief, an old man named Crippled Son, who limped over and bowed. Boss, Chief Yi is finally in the game. We should have partnered ages ago. Sukan kicked him. I'm your village chief, not your gang leader. Crippled Son took the kick without flinching. A village chief who doesn't want to be a gang leader isn't a good scholar. This man has achieved enlightenment through begging. I respect it. Sukan handed me a sheet of intelligence. His beggar network, spread across the entire region, invisible to everyone, present everywhere, had located a wanted bandit who'd robbed a government treasury. General area, movement patterns, possible hideout. Beggars make the best spies. Nobody notices them. Nobody watches what they see. They're everywhere and nowhere. If it goes sideways, run, Sukin shouted as I rode off. I need you alive. Your village has women and my village has single men. We have a deal to make. Behind him, every beggar sunbathing by the road suddenly perked up at the mention of women. Lord Yi, eternal glory, 10,000 years. They were ready to crown me emperor if it meant getting wives. I followed the intel into the mountains. Using skills from both lifetimes, military tracking from this life, security surveillance instincts from the last one, I found the bandits' trail within hours. Broken twigs, displaced rocks, the faintest footprints in dried mud. Smart guy. Slept during the day, moved at night. Urinated into a gourd so there'd be no puddles to give away his position. Kept his eyes scanning constantly, but not constantly enough. I found him standing on a tree branch, peeing into his gourd, eyes darting around nervously. I crept into position using battlefield concealment techniques, completely invisible. Watching him, I glanced at his situation and couldn't help muttering, "That's really small." He finished, climbed back into the tree, and went to sleep. I moved into range, raised the mountain Model 1, aimed, boom. He fell out of the tree like a rotten fruit, body twitching on the ground, still alive, but not for long, and suffering badly. I walked over and gave him the second barrel. First shot was for the money. Second shot was mercy. Travel well, brother. You made bad choices, but nobody deserves to die slowly in a forest. I cut off his head. Grim work. But that's how bounties work in ancient China. Proof of kill. Tied it to my horse, and pulled out the intelligence sheet to find my next target. Day 2. Morning. Got woken up by domestic violence. Afternoon. Invented firearms and became a bounty hunter. Evening. TBD, but probably involves more explosions. This village chief gig is really not what the job description said. The sun was going down and everyone was getting worried about me. Everyone. Back at Sukan's beggar village, my buddy was sitting on his village chief throne, getting shoulder massages from his cleanest beggars, trying to look calm. Crippled Sun was reporting the day's begging results. Not bad, Sukan said. The quantity held up. Extra rations tonight. Yeah, but quality is down, Sun complained. All rough grain. No white bread. The old folks can't chew this stuff. Sukan waved his hand like a king dismissing peasant concerns. My boy WIDOWS got that covered. He'll bring the good stuff. It's sunset and he's not back yet. The beggars started panicking. Not about MY's safety, about their futures. What if he died in the mountains? Don't say that. I'm counting on him to find me a wife. Those bandits are serious criminals. The government sent people and they got killed. Crippled Sun scratched his crotch thoughtfully. Am I really going to be single forever? Then he tried to give Sukan a shoulder rub with the same hand. Sukan kicked him across the yard. Sukan was genuinely worried, though. He stood up from his throne and called for volunteers. Get some young guys. We're going into the mountains to find him. I bet my whole future on this idiot. I can't have him die on day 1. And then, dust cloud on the horizon. A horse at full gallop. A tall figure wearing a straw hat with a flatbread strap to his chest like body armor. That's him. Crippled Sun screamed. Sukan's whole body relaxed. This son of a had his grandpa worried sick. Now, the beggars were debating whether I'd actually caught anyone. The consensus was, absolutely not. No way he got one on his first day. He probably just scouted the area. Those bandits are crafty and vicious. The government lost several officers trying to catch this guy. If bounty hunting were easy, every village around here would be doing it already. Sukan just smirked. He wasn't worried. He knew me, as he later told them. My boy WIDOWS was peeping at bathing women at age 3, pantsing the mayor's son at 6, undefeated fighter by 10, stabbing people with a spear by 13. One bandit is a snack. I mean, those are the original WIDOWS accomplishments, but I'll take the credit. I rode up and swung off my horse. Sukan walked over, and we did our signature greeting, shoulder bumping. I sent him flying back 3 meters. Oops. Forgot about the internal energy. The beggars swarmed. Front row gawking. Back row on tiptoes trying to see over heads. I tossed a huge sack of flour onto the ground. Nearly 100 pounds of white flour. Then handed Crippled Sun half a pig carcass. I asked that half a pig. And white flour? If he gave us this much, how much did he keep for himself? Their eyes were bulging. These were people who'd tried bounty hunting themselves. Tried. Most of them ran away the second they heard a twig snap. The few brave enough to actually fight a criminal came back injured or didn't come back at all. Now here's the beauty of my plan. Sukin pulled me aside. The government doesn't pay this well. You've got a special channel, don't you? Yep, no point hiding it. The whole purpose of bounty hunting was to create a cover story for my system income. Oh, where'd I get all this money? Bounty hunting. Very dangerous. Very lucrative. Don't ask questions. Sukin glanced at my military horse and figured it out, or thought he did. He assumed I was giving the heads to the garrison soldiers. They'd claim the military credit, and I'd get the cash reward. Soldiers deal directly with the treasury. No bureaucratic middlemen skimming 70% off the top. Not exactly what was happening, but close enough. Let him believe it. The beggars started getting ideas. Can we do this? Can you share your connections? You want my face? My face is limited edition. Use it too much and it's gone. Sukin shut them down. Everyone shut up. Face is a non-renewable resource, but I didn't want to alienate my intelligence network. These beggars were everywhere. Every road, every village, every corner. They saw everything, heard everything. Best spy network in the province, and they didn't even know it. Here's the deal, I said. You keep finding targets. If other bounty hunters want to use your intel, let them. When they bring the heads to me, I'll cash them in through my channel. Normal government payout is 30% to the hunter. Through me? 50%. Eyes went wide. Sukin grabbed my sleeve. Stay for dinner? We're cooking your flour and your pork. Can't. Family's waiting. I mounted up and rode off into the darkness. Behind me, I could hear 300 beggars chanting my name like I was their messiah. All because I gave them half a pig and some flour. Loyalty is cheap when people are starving. Remember that. The ride home was dark and quiet. Stars coming out. Wind in my face. The weight of silver in my saddlebags and meat on my horse's back. Not a bad day's work. When I finally got close to the village, I could see a small figure perched on the wall like a gargoyle. Xiao Ning. She'd been up there waiting God knows how long. The second she confirmed it was me, she launched off the wall and sprinted toward me at full speed. Her long legs ate up the distance. 300 meters in seconds. Big brother, you're back. I reached down and swung her up onto the horse behind me. She grabbed my waist and squealed. Big brother, this is what riding a horse feels like. I want to ride. I want to. Mom materialized from nowhere, grabbed Xiao Ning's thigh, and pinched so hard the girl nearly screamed. Get down. A proper girl climbing walls and riding horses. Have you no shame? You want to learn horse riding? Why don't you learn to eat farts? While Mom educated Xiao Ning about gender norms via physical violence, Xiao Yi and the little sisters were already at the horse, eyes locked on the saddlebags. More rice, more flour, more meat, more oil. Big brother delivered. Again, they started unloading like a pit crew. Then Xiao Yi noticed Four was missing. Where'd that little rascal? Four came sprinting from the house, carrying a bowl of water on her tiny legs. Big brother, water, drink. This child. She saw me come home, and her first thought was, he must be thirsty. Not, what did he bring me? Not, is there food? Just, water. My heart. Every single time. 3 pouted jealously and went back to hauling grain bags. Mom, I might not make it home every day from now on. Don't wait up. And please don't starve Xiao Ning just because I'm late. Mom scoffed. That money-losing girl. She's lucky I don't sell her, let alone feed her. Any other teenage girl would have burst into tears. Xiao Ning put her hands on her hips and fired back. Money-losing girl? People say children are debts from past lives. You must have owed me big in your last life. That's why I'm here collecting. Mom looked at all 4 daughters. Remembered she'd produced 0 sons besides me. All debts, all money losers. She reached for the nearest weapon to beat Xiao Ning again. And so ended day 2. Total earnings. Enough silver to make a beggar village worship me, enough food to keep my family fed for weeks, and 1 criminal's head that I'd rather not think about during dinner. I'm a village chief, a merchant, a military consultant, a weapons manufacturer, and a bounty hunter. My resume is getting very hard to explain. Dinner was chaos. Beautiful, beautiful chaos. Xiao Ning was simultaneously dodging Mom's fireplace poker, setting the table, and shouting, Big brother, sit down and rest. All at the same time. This girl could be an Olympic athlete if ancient China had Olympics. Categories. Table setting while evading parental violence. Mom was in full pursuit mode. Xiao Ning was winning for a while, ducking, weaving, placing bowls with surgical precision, until she slipped on the floor. A bowl of precious rice porridge nearly went flying. Xiao Ning had a choice: save herself or save the porridge. She saved the porridge. Took a direct hit from the poker right across the butt. Checked the bowl first. Not a single drop spilled. Then she started screaming. H. Mom, eat first then beat me. You'll have more energy, I said, dragging Mom to the table. Xiao Ning rubbed her butt and nodded enthusiastically. Yeah, eat first. Beat on a full stomach. Better cardio. Mom stared at this shameless child, tried to stay angry, and just laughed. You little demon. I probably did owe you money in a past life. Then Mom got emotional. She leaned against me, looked me up and down with satisfaction, then glanced at Xiao Ning and her mood soured again. Xiao Yi kicked my foot under the table. I didn't understand why, but I copied her and looked down. You're not here to collect a debt from me, Mom sighed. You're here for your brother. I won't be around much longer. I can feel it. My beatings don't hit as hard as they used to. Xiao Ning's face went white. Mom was talking about getting old, about dying, about leaving us. MOM, no. It's not that you're weaker. I just got faster. I'm bigger now. If you don't believe me, after dinner I'll lie on the bed and let you hit me. Full power. No dodging. You'll see you've still got it. Mom picked up her chopsticks with a mysterious smile. All right. Deal. Xiao Ning realized what she'd just volunteered for. Mom, I was just talking. Why are you looking at me like that? Everyone at the table was biting their lips, trying not to laugh. This girl just negotiated herself into a free beating. Tactical genius. Mom pushed a bowl of braised meat in front of me. Eat first, son. Then the girls can have what's left. Mom, no more of that. From now on, we all eat. Every meal. Together. We're going to get these girls fat. 3 and 4 couldn't believe their ears. They stared at the meat bowl like it was the Ark of the Covenant. Mom grumbled. Fatten them up just to send them to someone else's family. Don't come crying to me when you feel cheated. I won't feel cheated. They're my sisters. I love fattening them. The girls didn't hear a word of my sentimental speech. The moment Mom stopped objecting, 4 pairs of chopsticks attacked that meat bowl like piranhas. Oil flying everywhere. Cheeks bulging. Eyes rolling back in ecstasy. 3 pressed her hand to her chest and whispered, I think I'm finally alive. That hit different. Because in this village, a lot of little girls don't make it to 10. 3 genuinely believed she might die soon. And this meal, this one bowl of fatty pork, was proof that maybe, just maybe, she'd get to keep living. After dinner, I gave Mom all the day's earnings and went to the backyard to work on improving my shotgun. Today's field test revealed some issues. Range needed tweaking. Reload time was too slow, but I'd barely started when I noticed a head peeking over my back wall. Just a forehead and 2 eyes peering through the bricks. One of the Wong twins. Same girl from last night. She'd been watching me for an hour and a half, just staring through the wall like I was must-see television. I get it. I gave her family rice. I'm the only man in a village of hundreds of women. I beat up bad guys and ride horses. From her perspective, I'm basically a K-pop idol who also does grocery deliveries. I pretended to go inside for water, then snuck out around the side of the house. Found her standing on tiptoe, pressing her face against the bricks, peering through a crack with the intensity of someone watching the season finale of her favorite drama. I couldn't help myself. I reached out and touched her hand. She almost screamed. Then she saw it was me, clamped her mouth shut, kept staring through the crack like nothing was happening. But her body was trembling, and her finger, gently, scratched my palm. Oh, this is happening. This is actually. I was about to do something very irresponsible when I heard footsteps. I turned around. 15 widows. Standing in a semicircle. Arms crossed. Furious. Is that Wang's older sister or younger sister? Have some shame. We all agreed. Village chief is recovering. Nobody bothers him. And you sneak over here alone. They'd made a pact. An actual organized agreement among the village women that nobody would make moves on me while I was sick. And this girl broke the treaty. She'd gone rogue. The Wong girl ran away with her face on fire. I stood there with 15 angry widows glaring at me. Village chief, what are you doing with her? She's a child. What does she even know? Go back to bed. Everyone go home. I snapped. Oh no, the chief is mad. Thunder and lightning. Time to go home and spank the children. They scattered like startled birds, cackling and gossiping as they went. I slumped against the wall. This is my life. I have a surveillance team, an involuntary chastity enforcement squad, 200 widows monitoring my romantic activities like a neighborhood watch program for horniness. How am I supposed to do anything with a permanent audience? I was standing there, frustrated, irritated, full of unreleased energy, when a soft voice floated over. Village chief, were you waiting for me? I turned. There she was. Another one. A different girl. Standing right there. Dewy eyes. Delicate frame. Looking at me like I was the answer to a prayer. Every fire in my belly that I just managed to stamp out exploded back to life. This village is going to be the death of me. Not bandits. Not corrupt officials. Not famine. Women. 600 of them. All with terrible timing. So there she was. Wang Jiayi. Standing in the moonlight. Looking at me with those big worried eyes. Village chief, you should rest. Everyone's future depends on you. Don't work so hard, my brain said. Be responsible. Send her home. My body said, absolutely not. I tried playing it cool. Yeah, go home. I'll finish up and sleep. She didn't move. Instead, her voice got smaller. Do you? Not like me. If you think I'm too forward, I'll stop coming. Listen, I'm a man who once ate soft rice for a living. I know when a woman is giving you the green light. But I also know that rushing into things with 600 other women watching your every move is a terrible strategic decision. My mouth tried to explain this. Something about feelings need time and mutual attraction. I may have butchered several idioms. I definitely said something that wasn't a real word. Embarrassing. She wasn't having any of my philosophical delay tactics. My mom married my dad without even seeing his face first. Village chief, if you'll have me, that's my life's greatest blessing. I literally just came back from the dead. What if I die again? Then I'll marry into your family and give you an heir. Did you just plan for my death as a backup scenario? She told me something that actually shocked me. The day I went to the market, the day everything went sideways with Commissioner Liu, she'd secretly followed me. The whole way, when she saw me surrounded by thugs, she was the one who ran to find Zhao Zhu. She brought the cavalry. Literally. She'd been protecting me before I even knew she existed. When I watched you fight all those men by yourself, she whispered, I knew you were the only man I'd ever marry. I pulled her close. Couldn't stop myself. She fit perfectly against my chest. Her hair smelled like wildflowers and mountain air. Reader, I will spare you the details of what happened next, except to say that there was a small storage shed in the backyard with a cot, and the insects and frogs outside were very loud that evening, which was convenient. The next morning, I woke up to find her curled against me like a cat. She'd clearly been awake for a while, just nuzzling. Content. We talked. She wanted to stay at her mother's house for now. Her mom was sick. Her twin sister still needed looking after. She asked me to register our relationship with the marriage bureau officially, and we'd have a proper wedding later when things improved. Smart girl. This also bought me time before the other village women rioted over why I picked her. I got dressed and went inside to grab breakfast for her. Walked straight into Xiao Ning's face. 3 inches away. Nostrils flaring like a bloodhound. Brother, where were you last night? And why do you smell like a woman? Before I could even open my mouth, Mom appeared from nowhere, grabbed Xiao Ning by the ear, and dragged her away like removing a faulty alarm system. Then Mom turned to me with the biggest smile I'd ever seen on her face. Bigger than when the mayor brought grain. Bigger than when she saw the ox cart. She was beaming. Go feed your girl. Don't make her do all the work. Xiaoyi was already standing there holding a tray. White rice, braised meat, the works. Here, big brother. 4. Your guest. She was smirking. Everyone was smirking. 3 and 4 grabbed my sleeves. Big brother. Do we have a sister-in-law now? Mom was practically dancing. Go. And when you've sorted things out, bring her to meet me properly. But if this is just a fling, don't bother. I don't need the embarrassment. Xiaoyi. Mo. Big brother would never do something like that. Xiao Ning, still being dragged by her ear. Big brother, you've been tricked. She's not a good person. You're under a spell. Mom produced a stick from thin air and applied it rapidly to Xiao Ning's backside. Standard operating procedure. I escaped the chaos and brought breakfast to Jiayi. She'd already gotten dressed and was tidying up the shed, organizing my tools, making the bed, walking with a slight limp. looking very determined to be useful despite obvious discomfort. Stop cleaning. Xiaoning will handle it. I'm part of the Yi family now. I need to pull my weight. I held her face and gave her a soft kiss on the cheek. That's sweet. But for now, eat your breakfast and go home before the entire village finds out, and I have to deal with 200 jealous women filing formal complaints. She buried her crimson face in my chest. So, day 3 of my new life. I've gone from dead village chief to businessman, bounty hunter, weapons manufacturer, military consultant, and now, a man with a woman who followed me into danger, brought me reinforcements, watched me from behind walls for hours, and chose me over literally any other option in her life. Not bad for a guy who used to be a security guard mooching off his girlfriend. Though I do have one concern. Xiaoning's nose is apparently a weapons-grade detection system. If she can smell one woman on me from across a room, what happens when there are 36 wives and 72 concubines? I'm going to need a lot of soap. I walked Jia Yi home after breakfast. She pushed me out at the door, said she needed to explain things to her mom first before I could formally visit. Fair enough. Even in a dynasty with relaxed customs, there are protocols. Walking back through the village was like navigating a minefield of emotions. Every woman I passed had one of two expressions: heartbroken devastation or volcanic fury. Word had spread overnight. The village's only man was officially OFF the market, or at least one slot was filled, and the Wang family had won the first round. Several women had dressed up in their finest outfits, stuck flowers in their hair, and were attempting to intercept me like glamorous roadblocks. Village chief. Good morning. You look so handsome today. Go home, Andy. You're 40. A flower in your hair doesn't rewind the clock. I respect the effort, but come on. I shook off the desperate admirers and headed to Su Kin's beggar village for fresh intelligence. Today was a work day. Romance later. Money now. And what a day it was. 3 more bandits caught. My tracking skills from 2 lifetimes combined are basically a cheat code. Military scout training plus security guard instincts equals human GPS for criminals. I dropped off the bounty heads at the garrison, collected my payment, and started riding home. But during my mental review of the day, something nagged at me. There'd been a man in the mountains, someone I'd noticed briefly while capturing a murderer. His beard didn't match his age or hair color. Disguise. His arms were unusually thick. His footsteps too steady, too controlled. This wasn't a common thief. I'd let him slip through because I was busy. Mistake. In this line of work, the one you ignore is the one who puts a knife in your back later. Mental note filed. Stay sharp. The easy catches won't last forever. On the ride back, I noticed something concerning. Other people were now walking around holding government-wanted posters, squinting at every bush and rock formation. The news about my bounty hunting success had leaked. Everyone wanted a piece. This was the problem with making money publicly. Desperate, starving people see you succeed and think, I can do that too. Except they can't. I have military training, internal energy, a magic shotgun, and 2 lifetimes of experience reading human behavior. These guys have farming tools and enthusiasm. I reached the beggar village and tossed Suk in his cut. He nearly dropped it. How heavy is this? How many did you catch today? 3. At this rate, you'll make Sangzhou bandit-free by autumn. He also warned me to be careful about retaliation. Smart man. He'd already thought of that. Every target he'd picked for me was specifically chosen. People with no gang connections, no family networks, lone wolves who nobody would come looking for. I'm not sending my best friend into a trap, he said. I feel guilty enough that I didn't attend your funeral. I wasn't dead. Details. A crowd of farmers from nearby villages gathered around, watching Suk weigh my money pouch. Their eyes turned into dollar signs. Village Chief Yi. How do you find them? We spent all day in a swamp and got nothing except mosquito bites. I figure I should help them. Not out of pure generosity. They were my buffer. If more people hunted bandits, the dangerous ones would be flushed out where I could spot them. Plus, if these guys failed and someone got hurt, they'd blame Sukan. Better to give them basic instruction. Use your brains, I said. A wanted man can't enter cities. The posters are everywhere. He can't stay in villages. The village chief would notice a stranger. So where does he go? Mountains. And in mountains, he needs water and food. Find the water sources. Look for signs of cooking, human waste, disturbed ground. That's where your bandit is. Their faces lit up like I'd revealed the secret of the universe. Thank you, village chief Yi. We'll share our catches with you. They were vibrating with excitement, already imagining the silver. I watched them buzzing around like excited puppies and felt a cold weight in my stomach. These people had no idea what they were walking into. Listen to me carefully, I said, dropping my voice. Any bandit who can survive alone in the mountains is not a normal person. They're killers. They're fighters. They're desperate. If you don't have real combat skills, don't play hero. You'll end up dead, and your family will blame Suk for giving you bad information. We won't go alone. We'll take 30 guys. 100 even. They weren't listening. They saw the money, and the fear disappeared. Classic gold rush mentality. The same thing that gets people killed in every century. I sighed and rode off. Sukin gave me a look that said, I know. I'll keep an eye on them. But we both knew. You can lead fools to wisdom, but you can't make them think. Some of these guys were going to get hurt, maybe killed, and there was nothing I could do except catch the dangerous ones before they did. Good deeds, bad consequences. The eternal math of trying to help people who help themselves straight into a ditch. At least I had a woman waiting for me at home. Well, sort of. She was at her home, but she was mine now. And somewhere in my village, 15 widows were holding an emergency meeting about updated surveillance protocols. I tried to warn them. I really did. Government officers go after these bandits with dozens of trained men and still fail. What makes you think you'll do better? They looked at me like I was speaking a foreign language. That's because the officers are lazy. They don't try. We're hungry. We'll fight to the death. Village Chief Yi, you're not worried we'll steal your business, are you? Don't worry. Any bandits that Sukan's team gives you, we won't touch. I wanted to grab each of them by the shoulders and shake sense into their skulls. But there's an old saying, you can't save a ghost who's determined to die. Sukan waved them off with a casual warning. Fine, take the intel. But if you get yourselves killed, that's on you, not my beggars. Then he pulled me aside and muttered, why are you wasting breath on them? You know who signs up for bandit hunting? The village troublemakers. The lazy drunks. The guys who cause more problems than they solve. If they catch someone, great, their whole village benefits. If they die, well, their village has fewer problems. I stared at this man. This scholar. This reader of books. You intellectuals are ice cold. I'm not cold. I'm efficient. As if on cue, a neighboring village chief walked over, bowed to Sukan, thanked him for the intelligence, and marched off with his mob of amateur bounty hunters. Sukan shrugged. See? They love me. He tried to get me to stay for dinner. Offered me dog parts wine. 4. Stamina. I am a healthy young man. I don't need your weird animal juice. He grinned and pointed at my arm. When you joined the army, you had a muscle line right here. It's gone now. Don't think I didn't notice. So, when's the wedding? I want an invitation. Just send the gift money. You don't need to show up. Oh, I'm showing up. I'm bringing the entire village. 300 beggars performing traditional singing at your wedding ceremony. Picture that. I pictured it. 300 unwashed men serenading my bride with folk songs. I wanted to vomit and laugh simultaneously. You're insane. I'm leaving. Be careful out there. When I got back to the village, Jia-e was sitting on a rock at the entrance, waiting for me like a puppy whose owner went to the store. You took so long. She grabbed my sleeve and bounced on her toes. Something had changed in her. Yesterday she was shy, nervous, always looking at the ground. Today, she was glowing, playful, alive, like someone had turned on a light inside her. I pulled out a bolt of flower-patterned fabric from my sleeve. Got you something. Have your mom make you a new skirt. Your current one looks like it survived a war. She clutched it to her chest. It's beautiful. Talk to your mom? Yes. She says she needs a few days to prepare things before you can formally visit. A few days? What if I change my mind? I teased. Her face went from sunshine to thunderstorm in half a second. You cannot change your mind. I'm already your woman. You, relax, I'm kidding. She punched my arm, then hugged it, then blushed. The emotional range on this girl could power a small city. After dropping off rice and flour at her family's alley, I rode home. Another evening feast. This time, whole chicken soup. I'd bought some old hens, hoping Mom could keep them for eggs. Mom examined the chickens with the precision of a poultry surgeon. One squeeze of the rear end. Too old. Won't lay eggs. Dead. Plucked. In the pot. 3 minutes flat. My mother is ruthlessly efficient with disappointing livestock. The soup was incredible, though. 3 and 4 had grease from ear to ear. Xiaoyi scolded them about table manners. The little ones checked Mom's face for danger, saw she wasn't paying attention, and continued eating like tiny oil-powered machines. Then I noticed something was off. The table was too quiet. Specifically, Xiaoning was quiet. No bickering, no stealing food, no sass, just eating silently. I looked at her. She glared back. What are you looking at? I'm not as pretty as your Wang girl, am I? Oh no. Xiaoyi perked up. So had I asked the Wang's sister. When did you spy on them? Xiaoning's eyes went wide with indignation. I didn't spy. She was walking around the village today, all limping with her face all red, and it's obvious what happened. I shoved a chicken leg into her bowl. Eat. Be quiet. Your observational skills are unwanted. She slammed her chopsticks down. You know what? My eyes work fine. Unlike some people who have their sister standing right there and can't even see her because they're too busy hugging their girlfriend. I came to meet you today, and you didn't even notice me. You just stood there cuddling. I blinked. She'd come to welcome me home, and I'd walked right past her, with my arm around Jiayi. Before I could apologize, she turned to Mom. He forgot about you too. He used to say hello to you first thing. Today he just sat in the yard grinning like an idiot. Mom slapped the table. I'm happy he's grinning. He's giving the Yi family an heir. He could bury me alive, and I'd die smiling. Unlike some daughters who can't even find a husband, Xiaoning grabbed a handful of chicken bones and launched herself over the wall to feed her cat. Exit stage up. After dinner, Mom got serious. Son, bounty hunting won't last forever. The bandits will run out. You need a real business. I know, Mom. I'm thinking about rice trading. Wait. Back up. What did you say earlier about something feeling wrong today? I told her about the disguised man in the mountains. The one who didn't fit. Mom's face tightened. Then she dropped the bomb. Wang Laowu's wife told me. Their village heard about your bounty hunting success. They organized their own hunting party. Laowu went with them. My blood went cold. Laowu? He's supposed to be collecting crabs, Mom sighed. He couldn't refuse. Too much social pressure. Plus he wants money to pay for his father's medicine. Laowu. My loyal, gentle, terrified of soldiers Laowu. The man who faints when he sees uniforms. Out in the mountains hunting killers. The next day, I kept one eye on Jiayi's house. Neither Laowu nor his wife showed up. He always checked in, even if there were no crabs to deliver. Always. Without fail. One missed day could mean anything. 2 missed days means trouble. Something was wrong. I could feel it. That marshmallow was out there somewhere, probably holding a stick, facing a murderer, with his wife at home wondering if her husband was coming back alive. I should have tried harder to stop them. Should have been louder. Should have been meaner about it. But you can't save people from their own courage. Even when their courage is going to get them killed. Wang Lao hadn't shown up. Not yesterday. Not today. That man was more reliable than sunrise. If he wasn't delivering crabs, something was wrong. I strapped on my gear. Straw hat. Warrior outfit. Shotgun on my back. Ring pommel sword on the saddle. Full combat loadout. Climbed on the horse and rode straight for Su Kan's village. Along the road, I could feel the hostility. People from other villages watched me ride past, whispering. Not the admiring kind of whisper. The jealous kind. Look at him, rushing off to hog all the bounties again. He told us not to hunt bandits. Then goes out himself? Hypocrite. Back in the army, they were all scheming little rats. He just wants his widow village to have everything. Our village has real men. Dozens of them. Why should one man from widow village get all the money? Let's gather everyone. If he tries to stop us again, we'll deal with him. These ungrateful. I literally taught them how to find bandits. Gave them free advice. Warned them about the dangers. And now they think I'm their enemy because I'm better at the job than they are. But that's human nature, isn't it? You help someone, and the first thing they calculate is whether you help them enough. Whether you're keeping the good stuff for yourself. Whether your generosity is actually greed in disguise. Lu Sun was right. Assume the worst about people, and you'll still be surprised by how much worse they actually are. I found Su Kan's village mid-celebration. The beggars were throwing a feast with the food I'd brought them. Old men sipping cheap wine. Kids gnawing bones. Senior beggars giving lectures on advanced begging strategy and dogfighting stick techniques. Apparently, some rich households release attack dogs on beggars. So these guys have developed an entire martial art around hitting dogs with sticks while maintaining a sympathetic facial expression. It's horrifying and impressive simultaneously. Sukin was watching his people with a worried look, already planning ahead. Where did Wang family village go hunting? I asked. Xianan Mountain. Their chief was cheap, bought the lowest grade intel. I barely know what's up there. Might be bandits, might be deer, might be nothing. Lao Wu went with them. Su Kan's face tightened. He knew what Lao Wu meant to me. Want me to send people with you? No. Give me the intel. I'll go alone. If I can save him, I will. If I can't, then it wasn't meant to be. Su Kan shook his head admiringly. That's why you survived the battlefield. That mindset. Before I left, I couldn't help myself. Su Kan, you made a mistake. You sold intelligence to too many people. Too publicly. And now you're throwing a party about it. Every bandit in the region will know your village is the snitch factory, he sighed. I know. But once one person saw the profit, word spread to 100. I was trapped. Can't take it back now. I'm already planning the exit strategy, he added. Going to retrain my beggars as storytellers. They've heard every scandal and secret in 3 counties. We'll turn that into entertainment. Tea house performers, actually. Not a terrible idea. These beggars were world-class actors already. Every day was a performance. And the ones who can't tell stories. He gave me his most innocent scholar smile. Well, my dear friend, Yidu seems to be building quite an enterprise. He might need workers, spies, informants. All I'd ask is a small salary and help finding wives for my boys. You planned this. You've been setting me up since day one. Hurry up and go save your friend. I'm worried about him. I rode for Xianan Mountain through the dark. When I arrived, the forest was alive with movement. I found Lao Wu's wife first. She and a bunch of other women, old people, and children were hiding in the brush at the mountain's edge. What are you doing here? Bandit hunting with families. We were worried. If something goes wrong, we can absorb some sword strikes. So the men can escape, human shields. They brought themselves as volunteer human shields. These people were willing to take stab wounds so their husbands could run away. This is what poverty does. Makes life so cheap that mothers offer their bodies as armor. I looked deeper into the forest and could see movement. Lao Wu was in there with a group of villagers, methodically checking every bush with farming machetes. Farming tools against professional criminals. But I also noticed something else. Birds. High in the canopy. Circling. Not landing. That means something below is scaring them. And it's not the clumsy villagers making noise. Something else was in that mountain. Something dangerous. Maybe multiple somethings. Go home, I told the wives. I'll handle Lao Wu, but if we leave, the village chief's son will punish us. Let him try. If he gives you trouble, come to me. I've got land. I've got food. I've got room. I pushed into the forest and found Lao Wu. The second he saw me, his face went dark. That stupid woman. I told her not to bring you. I kicked him. Not hard. Okay, a little hard. You idiot. You don't tell me you're going on a suicide mission? You think you can handle this? Look at those birds. Something's in there. Something bad. And your people are walking toward it with garden tools. He hung his head. I had no choice. The clan elder ordered it. Everyone goes. I can't refuse. Your clan elder can order you to die. Before he could answer, a group of men stormed over. Leading them was a scrawny teenager holding a hoe like it was Excalibur. Who the hell are you to interfere with our village? The kid, Wang Mengzi, the village chief's son, got right in my face. I'm not interfering with your village. I'm collecting MY employee. Wang Lao Wu is our strongest fighter. You can't take him. He's under contract with me. Sign paperwork. He's supposed to be collecting crabs, not playing soldier. I'm taking him back to do his job. Got a problem? Take it to the magistrate. The kid puffed up his chest.